Jockey Christian Torres won the Smarty Jones last year. When the Rebel is well, he'll try for a first Southwest tomorrow afternoon. First things first, the fourth on this eve of the Southwest. It's post time. Here's Matt Dinnerman.
Here's Simovic. Simovic goes in. We're ready to go. And Laroff. Good beginning. Lambeau showing speed today off the layoff. Wise Decision close up to the pace as well. It's going to be Lambeau to set the pace with Wise Decision. On the inside, Viking is showing speed, adding the blinkers today as well. Lambeau with a narrow lead. Wise Decision between horses. Viking is down on the inside of that pair. Length and a half to What a Blessing. Simovic are side by side. Gold Member 2.5 lengths off the leading trio who line up approaching the far turn run. Handsome Herb in the meantime is second to last, and First Bid the Gray is the trailer as they round the far turn. Viking neck in front. Lambeau right there on the outside. Wise Decision between them, pumped upon now, losing contact with the top pair as they round the far turn. What a Blessing being asked to get going. 2 lengths behind, and Simovic is outside of him. Top of the stretch. Viking off the turn, cuts the corner. Lambeau battling with him. These two together in the final 3/16. On the outside, it's Lambeau. Inside, Vikings fighting hard. Viking putting away Lambeau in the final furlong. Lambeau drifting out, a little bit tired, under the right hand in encouragement, and Vikings kicking away. Viking for Rafael Bejarano and Randy Morse to win it in the Lee Blanc Racing colors. Lambeau's second best. First Bid from well out of it gets third. Simovic was fourth.
Alex and Joan Leblanc's Viking graduates in his third career start, closing, 7-1 in overlay.
Yeah, and really game performance, too. It looked like he was going to be run right by the 7 Lambeau, who's coming off an extended layoff. He got a little bit tired late, but he was resolute and kept on under Rafael Bejarano, who's having a good Oaklawn Park stand.
Lamborghini, the influence of the name Lambeau, could not reel in, could not catch Viking. City of Light, the sire. City of Light, Accelerate. You remember they ran 1-2 in an Oaklawn Handicap here a few years back. City of Light, eventual Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile winner. Pegasus World Cup winner. Pegasus World Cup tomorrow in South Florida. Viking breaks through in a 2-7-6-8 unofficial order of finish. 7-2 on the morning line. The handicappers kind of ignored this one, Richie.
Yeah, it seemed like everybody, drifted to the 5. What a Blessing. And I think some other horses kind of got away a little bit unnoticed. This was a nice effort here.
In hand, geared down, as they say. Rafael Bejarano, as Richie mentioned, solid meet the first month plus here at Oaklawn Park. So we'll await those results. Meantime, back to the marquee event this weekend and the Southwest Stakes. One of 4 Kentucky Derby prep races here at Oaklawn Park. $1 million purse. The 4 prep races worth $4 million. 42 Kentucky Derby points available, 20 to the winner, 10 strong. Gaming, as you mentioned, Richie, for trainer Bob Baffert, drawn inside 2-1, the morning line favorite. Patch Adams, number 7, strong second choice, coming off of an insanely fast maiden win in his second career start at Churchill Downs late November.
Yeah, it's interesting. Patch Adams showed some brilliance. He has real speed. He's stretching out. We're going to find out a lot more about his distance ability in the Southwest, the mile and a 16th. Interesting, though, he's got so much turf pedigree on the female side of his family, and he's already shown so much ability on the dirt.
33 100ths of a second off of the 7 furlong track record at Churchill Downs. In his second career start as a 2-year-old.
As a maiden. Right, breaking their maiden. And you think about stakes horses and all the horses that have competed at that distance over the long years at Churchill Downs. That's pretty impressive in there. And I will say, the horses trained in the afternoon yesterday because of the cold weather. He made an outstanding impression on the racetrack. He really looks like he's got his game face on.
Yeah, I think he closed it 12-1, I believe, in the Pool 1 of the Kentucky Derby Future Wager. Patch Adams, as we mentioned, the weather as far as the track, that's not going to be a concern tomorrow. Clear skies expected. It will be cold as we welcome in Maggie Wolfendale. Maggie, the conditions she will be discussing how, Richie, it's been a little bit complicated for the horsemen, for the trainers, preparing their 3-year-olds, the fillies for the Martha Washington, the boys in the Southwest, that some training has been missed for local horses.
Yeah, they have been, but I think management did the best they could under difficult circumstances, opening up the track once it got warmer. They can't put chemicals in the track here. We're on national forest land. So there are a lot of rules that Oaklawn has to, abide by that other racetracks don't. So all right, they had a little bit of interruption, but nobody really has an edge. They were all, at least most of them, were on the grounds already.
$1 million Kentucky Derby prep race in January. A little bit different than when you were doing your thing, Richie.
Yeah, quite a bit different. But you know what? I get to talk about it, so that's okay.
We'll have it for you live tomorrow on Fox Sports 2. Now to Maggie Wolfendale, standing by live. Maggie, how has the weather? How has that complicated things for trainers trying to get their sophomores ready for tomorrow's Southwest?
Yeah, I kind of feel like those horses a little bit behind the 8 ball as we begin this show. But of course, we see Oaklawn doing as best as they possibly can with horses training during the races. We actually saw Patch Adams train after today's 3rd race, but that's not really a problem for gaming as well here, guys. A horse that's coming back, Bob Baffert saying he's training unbelievably well and noting that maybe he just bounced. Also, Bob saying that he got pretty revved up in the paddock there at Los Alamitos before that Los Al Futurity. So I'll be having a close eye on him, but also trying to gauge the fitness of many of these horses, as the ones here at Oaklawn have missed some training. Even the ones at Fairgrounds, they're impacted by that once in a century snowstorm. But Patch Adams, good for him. He's coming in from Payson, so nice sunny skies for him and hasn't missed a beat. Reportedly working very well with older stablemate Hit Show.
All right, Maggie, thanks so much. You hear the ringing of the bell here at Oaklawn. We're getting ready for the 5th race in Hot Springs. Meanwhile, in New York, 5th race as well on tap at Aqueduct. We welcome in Greg Wolf, standing by on set with Sarah El Badwi.
Yeah, thanks, Lafitte. You want to talk about cold? Come here. Much colder here in South Ozone Park, New York, but we're getting set for the Pick 4 coming up. New York bred, $30,000 maiden claiming race. Very excited about all these big races as we continue that path to the Derby and Oaks coming up this weekend.
I mean, the Southwest last year producing eventual Kentucky Derby winner Mystic Dan, so certainly a prep to keep your eye on. A big weekend with Pegasus World Cup as well. But the late Pick 4, as you mentioned, about to start right here.
Yeah, it looks like there's a standout in this race, at least in terms of the races run to this point, and certainly last time out. Lose Redemption, the 6, a race that seems just much better than anyone else, but it was her 11th career start. Can she reproduce it?
Well, she's a horse that was running against males last time out and was able to finish second. And it seems as though some of those horses have come back to win. Landauer at a big price came back and won with an upset victory. And another horse did come back to win his next start. So a live race, but has some questions to answer based on that last number, if she can repeat it.
We need to give a round of applause to Acacia Clement joining us now, flown in last minute, private jet on special assignment. Thank you for showing up. Acacia, what can you tell us about this 5th race?
I wish it was a private jet, Greg, but I, much like Patch Adams, came up from Payson. But the sun at least is shining in New York, so enjoying that. As we'll take a look at your favorite, Lose Redemption. I do agree on numbers and what she's run so far. She is the one to beat. She's a horse that, even though she's not overly kind of built like a turf horse, she's one that's a little bit lighter in her hind end, which I think oftentimes, as we say, those types have an easier time of it on the grass. However, she handles the dirt just fine as well, and for her standards, looking at her, she's held her weight very well through into the winter, which I appreciate. She's also one that can get pretty energetic. She's keeping it under wraps today. A couple more lightly raced types, though, starting with the 3, Freud's Fancy. I like what I see from this one, actually. She's a horse that ran on the dirt for the first time last time out, was chasing the pace. I do like that she has some early speed, too. Her in the top 2 were best in that race, but hopefully she can get something out of it. She comes in here Looking very fit. She's sharp back in the paddock as well on her toes. And I'm wondering if she could take another step forward her second time on the main track. The number 4, One Good Raison, is stretching out in distance. She's not the biggest, but there is a little bit of length to her frame. And if she's able to handle a little bit more distance, that certainly could benefit her because she didn't break that quickly on debut. She'll need to get out and get into the race a little bit earlier on. Now, the number 7 is a little bit intriguing in this race and taking some late money. Sunset Park. Do note it's a hood, full hood, covering those ears under those pretty significant blinker cup, about a 3/4 cup that does go on. Ran only on synthetic, but I think she is well suited to these conditions, Greg.
Yeah, thanks, Acacia. There she is. She's the big unknown in this race. The 7 Sunset Park only start came on a synthetic surface. Dirt debut start number 2 coming up here with the blinkers on.
Seems like she's going to be one that shows some early speed. I like the number 3 for its fancy as well to be forward in this spot.
Odds on favoritism, though, the 6 Lose Redemption debuted first few starts against much better. David Duggan saying we're going to find a more realistic spot. And certainly last time out, that race probably wins against this group if she can do it again. We'll find out. Pick 4 starts here. Let's go to Chris Griffin for the call.
Goes in. All set. And they're off. Lose Redemption is up with the early lead, and Sunset Park is in the early mix too. At the rail here, moving forward, the Splendid One, and now the Splendid One puts ahead in front. The Splendid One and Freud's Fancy towards the outside. These two go back and forth, head and head as they approach the backstretch, and there comes 3 wide. It's going to be Sunset Park is now chasing that early duo. Out further, there is going to be My Gorgeous, 4 across the racetrack early. Hayes Bay is at the rail, is ridden along, is in 5th, and to the outside of that rivals Lose Redemption, who broke with the lead, is under a tight hold here. Romero Mirage progressing nicely. Then Lucky and Gorgeous, second to last, and the Triller, One Good Race on. 23.76 for the opening quarter mile. The Splendid One, the long shot, has got the lead. The Splendid One is up by 2.5. Freud's Fancy is giving chase here from second with less than 4 furlongs to go, 48-1, that half-mile time. Out wider, My Gorgeous is shoved along, and Lucky and Gorgeous starts the rally. Lose Redemption is still under a tight hold, looking for a seam, green sleeves, and now starts to progress. Losing some ground at the rail, that's Hayes Bay, and launching a big rally. One Good Race on is now tailing off is My Gorgeous, who's the trailer. They're still chasing the Splendid One. The Splendid One is in front. Lose Redemption has traveled nicely throughout. Romero Mirage with a look over his right shoulder, and Lose Redemption is now cut loose, and Lose Redemption has taken the lead. Lose Redemption trying to put it away. Lose Redemption is now up by 3. It's Lose Redemption who's well clear. Lucky and Gorgeous on the grandstand side. Freud's Fancy, they're duking it out here as the Splendid One starts to lose late ground. Lose Redemption, the favorite though, is just opening up, is going to dominate here in today's 5th. It's all Lose Redemption to win it. Lucky and Gorgeous second, Freud's Fancy, and a late rally from Hayes Bay in 1 minute 42.30 seconds.
Easy time of things. 12th time. The Charm, Lose Redemption, Romero Mirage for trainer David Duggan at odds on to kick off this Big 4.
She just made a lot of sense coming in here based on her recent efforts, and she's had a great trip behind long shot speeding type, the Splendid One, who kind of gave everybody a little bit of a scare at the top of the stretch here, but Romero Mirage having this one in the right position, just able to draw away well, and she's one that's taken some steps forward over her last couple and was able to take the ultimate step forward graduating today.
Does so at 4-5. 12th time out. Breaks her maiden, daughter of Catholic boy for Clear Star Stable. With the victory here, formful. Beginning to this late Pick 4, 6, 1, 8, 3, and 5 here in the 5th. Big weekend coming up out in Hot Springs. Team alluded to it out at Oaklawn. Back on the road for that first Saturday in May. Bob Baffert, he returns eligible with his runners for the first Saturday in May, and gaming showing up in the Southwest. We'll preview his chances when we come back. Back with you on our Fox Sports 2 coverage on this Friday afternoon. Good to have you with us. Program brought to you in part where you can play it all. Naira Bets. Go to nairabets.com. Get signed up and started. Bet the Derby prep we have for you tomorrow from Oaklawn. We're going to preview that coming up in a moment. Here in the start of the Pick 4 at Aqueduct, Lose Redemption. No doubt about it. Winner powering away from this group to get that first win here in start number 12.
Back in with the fillies and mares after a try against the boys where she ran well. Just a horse that's been progressively improving and was able to win convincingly in this spot.
Race 6, we move along. 7 furlongs. New York Breds, first allowance condition coming up. And First Class Cat, a little surprising here, opening up as an early favorite off a decent effort for Linda Rice last start.
This is a horse that's had some consistency, but yet to really break through at this level. But Eric Cancel seems to be riding some horses with forward intention, was able to put a horse that hadn't shown speed in a long time, Shadow Dragon, on the lead yesterday. So we'll see if he can get this one a little bit closer.
Pretty incredible. We are not even into February yet, and $1 million already on the line in a Kentucky Derby prep in Hot Springs this weekend for that Grade 3 Southwest. Field of 10 will line up, and great to see that name back on the Kentucky Derby trail and that road to that first Saturday in May with Bob Baffert gaming 2-1 on the morning line. Grade 1 winner, just second start of his career.
He's one that got a favorable pace set up when finishing second in that Breeders' Cup Juvenile behind his stablemate. We'll see if he can get that kind of same setup or perhaps change his tactics and show that he is able to overcome something, able to overcome some adversity in his races, yet to do so.
Now we got some serious star power back in action on the road to that first Saturday in May, guys, with gaming showing up for Baffert. What can you tell us?
Oh, first off, Greg, it will be the story at this year's Kentucky Derby. The return of Bob Baffert, a 6-time Kentucky Derby winning trainer after serving that 3-year suspension, now eligible to run horses at Churchill Downs. Richie, just taking a big step back, big picture. Bob Baffert being able to run horses in the Derby once again. Like, what is the impact?
Well, a huge impact. The fact that, he's tied for the winningest Kentucky Derby trainer of all time. And listen, he made mistakes. He can be a polarizing figure at times, Bob Baffert. But he paid his price, and now it's time for him to be in his rightful place back on the Triple Crown trail. And to give you just a little perspective, Lafitte, he's trained 2 Triple Crown winners. 2 other trainers did that, Sonny Jip Fitzsimmons and Ben Jones. But they were training for William Woodward's Bel Air stud and Lucille and Admiral Marquis' Calumet farm. Bob did it with multiple owners.
And multiple Derby prospects in his stable for Bob Baffert, including gaming. There's the damage he's done at Churchill Downs, and then there's the damage he's done here at Oaklawn Park. You go back to February 10th of 2010, the first time he started a runner in a 3-year-old prep. Yeah, he won it with conveyance, Richie. Since then, Baffert, with 6 wins in the Southwest, that's a record. 8 wins in the Rebel, that's a record. 5 wins in the Arkansas Derby, that's tied with Todd Pletcher for most all time. 43 starters in Derby preps at Oaklawn, he's won 20 of them.
I would say that's a pretty solid percentage. Now, obviously, listen, it's very, very attractive to come here to Oaklawn to prep for the Kentucky Derby. The purses are huge, and you have this comprehensive series of racing building to that crescendo to get to the Kentucky Derby. You can skip one if you want and still get enough points, and certainly the money they're offering is very attractive.
Baffert has sent gaming here, runner-up in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, and of course he disappointed, kind of flopped as an odds-on favorite in the Los Al Futurity out west. Maggie, how has gaming done since in preparing for the Southwest?
Well, by all accounts from his Hall of Fame trainer, Bob Baffert, he has been training very well, very forwardly, possessing a lot of energy heading in to this Southwest, as we've seen Bob be so dominant in this. Now, he comes in here with a plethora of fast workouts, but that is typical for horses in California and horses of this caliber. But looking at gaming, you have to be a little leery of his last effort, in which Bob said maybe he bounced. I don't know. It was 6 weeks from the big number in the Breeders' Cup runner-up in that juvenile, but also that he, as I said earlier, got a little hot, a little undone in the paddock. And I noticed a lot of times at Los Al, horses run in the middle of the racetrack. They keep them out wide, and this guy was on the rail for most of the way. So we'll see. Juan Hernandez in to ride him for the second time he was aboard to break his maiden. And with that inside post position, Richie, as you often say, kind of simplifies things. A horse that does have some natural speed. We'll see if Juan puts him on the lead. It seems like a natural place for him to be.
Especially from that inside. Protect inside position. Don't allow that crush of horses to fold over on you and put you in a compromising position. And one thing we know about the way Bob Baffert trains, you don't have to worry about horses being fit. He trains them hard, and they're ready to run.
Let them rip right from the start. Your take on Gaming's performance in the Los Al Futurity?
You know what? I'll forgive that race completely because he was coming off of an effort in the Breeders' Cup. And a lot of trainers, particularly with 2-year-olds, that's supposed to be their last race of the season. It's basically like, okay, we're going to throw everything we can at him, the kitchen sink. And a lot of times they'll regress off of an effort like that. And I think that's what happened. I think you'll see a different version of Gaming.
Baffert looking for a 7th win in the Southwest Stakes. Gaming 2-1 morning line favorite for tomorrow's $1 million Southwest Stakes. Back to today's action. Tricky segue from potential Derby prospects and 3-year-olds to this $20,000 claimer, non-winners 3 lifetime, all for sale, all 2 for something. 5-2 favorite number 4, who we'll see in the post parade. Mighty Message. First things first, there's Moon over Egbert.
Horse making his first start ever on dirt, has raced exclusively on synthetic or turf. But the sire, Super Speedy, does well with dirt runners.
Long shot side by side by side. Husker Butch, and then Just Ask Watts pictured.
Just Ask Once taking a drop in class for Dan Ward, former assistant to Hall of Famer Jerry Hollendorfer.
The favorite, Mighty Message. Good luck, Tom Amos.
Listen, he adds blinkers. He has speed. That should intensify his speed, and the drop in class should help.
Fighting Ready, 33-1 outsider.
Yeah, he's just going to have to improve from the current form.
And a contender, second choice, number 6, Own the Field.
Makes a lot of sense. First start off the Brad Cox claim. Brad Cox made a lot of it. Won his first race at the meet yesterday, so maybe it's time for him to break out.
Yeah, get some momentum built before the big Saturday. There's Aaron, just plain old Aaron.
Another one was claimed and now drops in class off of that claim. Is going to have to improve.
Big drinker, Nick Juarez aboard.
Peter Miller having a really good meet here, winning at better than 33%. Had a winner or maybe 2 yesterday.
Patch O'Brien, Walter De La Cruz.
We got Patch Adams coming up tomorrow, but we got Patch O'Brien here. Very consistent kind of runner. 1 for 1 using his speed in the slop last time.
Yeah, Patch Adams is a little bit quicker than Patch O'Brien. You saw Ain't That a Kick, then on the outside, Hey Boss and Francisco Arrieta.
Tough post, not a long run, into that first turn at the start here in a 2-turn race. Has to overcome that post.
They don't always go in order, Richie. Number 11, 13-1 here. Cockcab for trainer Steve Asmussen. Keith Asmussen, big night for the Asmussens, the Asmussen family last night in South Florida.
Keith's brother, Steve's son, Eric, got the Eclipse Award for Champion Apprentice, and I really liked when they had his Uncle Cash come on in a video message. And as far as I could see, and I did the research, only uncle and nephew to ever win the Eclipse Award for Champion Apprentice.
Very nice. Terrific speech, heartfelt speech from Eclipse Award-winning apprentice Eric Asmussen. To Maggie trackside with more on the favorite. Mighty Message 5-2, 2 minutes out. Maggie.
Yeah, Mighty Message, Lafitte adding blinkers today. Not a significant pair in that it's just a shortcut cheater blinker, but a horse that I noticed in his last start wanted to lean out from the get-go. And so we do see him equipped with that Houghton bit that we often see horses that have that propensity to lean in or lean out on him as well. So we'll see. Do the blinkers make any sort of difference with him? Like I said, they're not that big of a pair. So he's one that he's okay overall, but I do prefer his main rival by a lot, and that's number 6. Own the Field, whom I saw over the summer in Saratoga, where he posted some pretty big efforts in those starter allowance races, and he'll actually drop first off the claim here for Brad Cox, but in some ways that doesn't bother me that much, in that Brad Cox, when he kind of built his stable, he trained for Midwest way back in the day. They were a claiming outfit, and that's when he kind of rose. And then he had to regroup when they went out of business, but he knows how to play this claiming game. So we'll see how he does first off the claim here, but a horse that has maintained that high quality of physical being since the summer. He warmed up beautifully, warming up very, very nicely over this racetrack. So I do like Own the Field. Now, a horse that's a big long shot in here, stretching out, is number 3, Just Ask Watts. I thought he comes out of a race that featured some pretty nice runners, all of which coming back to post higher speed figures, Win, Mischievous M, and Rabbit Hound. I thought this guy could be more forward, which may help his chances, and physically he looks okay to handle this stretch out in distance, Lafitte.
And then there's the race shape, Richie. A full field, the 2-turn mile, running to the short wire.
Yeah, so a rider has to get his horse running a little earlier than they might normally, start making their run around the far turn, because they're basically finishing up at the 16th pole. And you'll see guys, you know, if you're not paying attention to the wires, you go, oh, they're moving too soon.
Mm-hmm.
No, you got to have your horse's momentum coming off the far turn.
Leading rider Christian Torres on the favorite, Mighty Message, 5-2 at post time. Matt Dinneman with the call. Race 5, Oaklawn, live on Fox Sports 2.
Post, hey, boss. Here's Hey Boss coming up. Going in. We're ready to go. And Lair off. A slow break from Ain't That a Kick. Moon over Egbert was slow to go as well. Mighty Message adding the blinkers. Quickest in fact. Leads a length and a half from Just Ask Watts and Husker Butch. Cog is parked deep as they go into the first turn run. He's about 2 lengths ahead of Own the Field, running in the 5th position. Then comes Big Drinker, Patch O'Brien. They're side by side. So is Aaron and Moon over Egbert. They race as a pair. Hey Boss broke on the outside post. He's 3rd last, about 6 ahead of Fightin' Ready. And that leaves Ain't That a Kick to trail the field. A strung out group approaches the backstretch run, and Mighty Message strings them out. Mighty Message and the leading rider at the meet, Christian Torres, a length and a half in front. Just Ask Watts second, Husker Butch to his inside. Gap of a length and 3/4 to Cog, and then comes Big Drinker down on the inside. Patch O'Brien in the 3-path moving forward to be level 3rd, approaching the half-mile pole. Then comes Own the Field. He's 4 from the top as the first 7 bunch up. Gap of 3 lengths more to Aaron, sent along from his position with Moon over Egbert. Then comes Hey Boss. The other 2 are well out of it as they round the far turn. Remember, this race will end at the 16th pole. Mighty Message, the leader, hard sent to keep pace, a neck in front. Just Ask Watts is right there. Husker Butch is creeping into contention now down on the inside. He appears to have run if he can find a way out of traffic. Top of the stretch. Mighty Message still in front of Just Ask Watts. Husker Butch on the inside in a tight spot. Down the extreme outside, Own the Field's coming with a charge. Just Ask Watts finding his best stride, and Own the Field down the grandstand side is gobbling up ground, has taken command. Ain't That a Kick from a mile behind trying to get there too. It's still Own the Field, and Own the Field got it. Own the Field just got there over Just Ask Watts, and 3rd home Big Drinker and Ain't That a Kick.
Driving finish, Own the Field, make it 2 wins at the Oaklawn meet for trainer Brad Cox.
Well, I think the floodgates will open now. Brad Cox, too good a horseman, too good a trainer to keep down. Got that first win yesterday. It's this win, first off the claim. Own the Field, very, very game performance to eke out the victory here.
Charlie Whittingham slump, Bill Shoemaker slump. At one point or another, the best of the best, the elite, they all go through it.
Absolutely. Slumps do not define who you are as a jockey, as a trainer. It's how you handle the adversity and how you emerge from it. And you knew Brad Cox was not going to stay in this slump for too long.
6, 3, 8, 10. Big move from far back from Ain't That a Kick to complete the super, but no catching Own the Field. Brad Cox, Isaac Castillo in the 5th at Oaklawn Park. Back to New York. New York Bred's on tap, Greg.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, it was news. One of the best barns in our sport had gone winless at the meet so far. Yesterday got that win with a huge class dropper. This one on the field now gives him a couple of wins over the last 2 days, so it looks like he can get back on track now. We expect him to have a lot of wins by the end of the meet.
I think he's going to be okay. It's always something to pay attention to because when you have one of those trainers that is located in multiple jurisdictions and has horses running at various racetracks to see what sort of string they're bringing to each one and how strong that group of horses is. But I'm sure it just feels good to get off the duck, especially when you have an exciting prospect in tomorrow's Southwest.
So you think he'll be okay?
I think he'll be all right. I think
One of the
Brad
best
Cox
trainers
will
in
win
the game.
another race or 2.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
Yes.
6 minutes away from the 6th. There's 7 furlongs coming up as we look at the 5-2 favorite. First class cat still, Sarah, taking money.
I'm a little surprised that this horse is your current favorite because she's just not necessarily a winning type, and she ends up being a little bit pace compromised in the majority of her races. So while there is some consistency there, I think that there are others in here that I would prefer to be using in any multi-race bets that I play, or I wouldn't take her at 5-2. That's for sure. I think that's way too short of a price on a horse who has consistency, but so do plenty of others. This is not a bad group.
Yeah, at least with First Class Cat, I mean, there's no real standouts in here, but one of the better figures that anyone's run, at least recently, probably was her last time out. But that was career start number 15, not some overwhelming performance. It wasn't even a win, but this barn commands a lot of respect.
Of course, and she has those races where if you look 4 starts ago, she has a 3rd place finish at a level like this where she's earning a 71 by her speed figure. She has some consistency, but overall, you do have horses that are coming out of similar races as her who ran better than she did, and the current price on Unbraceable Gal right now at 6-1, I'm a little surprised by.
We saw one of Linda Rice's main riders looking around. His mount will have the rail. Mama's Got a Gun, who's been off since June of last year for Linda Rice, another Linda Rice filly in this spot, and did break her maiden career start number 2 on a muddy sealed effort. So off the bench, we'll see what we get here, 5-1 from the rail.
She's hard to judge because she does have a couple of races that she could improve upon, and she has shown the ability to face some good company, just not sure what her level of ability really is.
Here is Chasing Daylight, part of the entry. We'll break from post 5.
She has early speed. Jockey Romero Mirage not afraid to use it.
10 of her 22 starts. She's been first or second, 4 wins as well. Stablemate next door, Book of Wisdom.
Stepping way up in class, first off the claim here for Rudy.
Again, the inside post to Mama's Got a Gun, the other Linda Rice runner.
Just really hard to judge in terms of her overall ability, but she could improve, and she comes off a little bit of a freshening.
Valentine Gift at 9-1, Katie Davis.
She comes from far, far back, was able to get the victory 2 starts ago.
Braceable Gal, that's a good price on one who was 5-2 morning line, has put together back-to-back efforts that might be good enough to win here.
And good fields in both of those races. She'll need a little bit of pace ahead of her, but this price is ridiculous.
Brooklyn Dance, Sahin Savachi at 7-1.
She's kind of that plodding type that will get there for a piece of things if things do heat up on the front end.
So here's the Linda Rice favorite with Eric Cancel. He had a couple of wins yesterday.
Yeah, taking the late daily double yesterday, more aggressive rides. Maybe that's the plan.
And Snappin' Buttons' first 3 starts of her career looked very promising, has gone backwards since.
She does put blinkers on, and she has a propensity to lug in. She already has good early speed. The only outlier of when she didn't show that was her last start.
6th race, approaching the 2-minute mark to post. Let's head back downstairs to Acacia.
We'll start off with the 4 Embraceable Gal, and I agree with you guys. It is a big price. Maybe that's not the best sign on a horse that I just think in her last couple of starts has faced a couple of salty bunches as well. Now, I haven't seen her in quite some time running here on the Naira circuit in her last 2, but prior to that being based primarily up at Finger Lakes, she's a horse that used to wear both a Houghton bit and an extension blinker with her outside eye covered, one who typically drifted quite a bit. Now, seeing her making her 3rd start with the Rob Atras barn, she has about a 3/4 cup blinker on, a pretty good size, just a snaffle bit, the softest type of bit that you will see with race horses here. And you could see in that warm-up, she's pretty strong. She's one that I think you need a strong rider, one with good hands, to be able to kind of settle and to relax into the bit a little bit more. But I thought she's warming up well for a horse here in New York. She's dappled out, great in her coat and in her weight, moving well on the track. A little bit flat last time out, but I thought didn't look the most comfortable being down on the inside and kind of in tight as well. Maybe that has something to do with her propensity to kind of drift a bit. Now, the number 6 First Class Cat, 1 of 2 for Linda Rice, and still your favorite on the board right now. And with Sarah, she isn't the winningest type. She's been consistent overall in the fact that She's often right there. Was well beaten 2 starts back in the same race that Embraceable Gal was in, and I think too far back that day too. She does have the ability to be a little bit more tactical as needed, and she had several horses sending to the front last time where she was able to sit off of it and come running late. She's far more relaxed now into the winter months, which is a good sign, but we'll see if she's able to get a little bit of a trip and to finish a bit more. I do think Linda's other horse, the 2 Mama's Got a Gun, is intriguing. I was reading some quotes in the Daily Racing Form from Linda Rice on this filly, in which she said was sidelined with a little issue and probably wants to go longer than this, but she's been training really well and is ready to race. So this is a bit more of a starting point, and I can see that. She has certainly strengthened. She has, I should say, filled out, could strengthen up with a race, which she'll get a lot out of today and will appreciate a bit more ground. Early on in her career, though, Greg, she was very bad at the gate loading, so keep an eye on her as she goes in, as she will have to break from the inside.
And the last time we saw her, thank you, Acacia, did get out slow, got bumped a little bit, and it's been a long time away, but we'll see maybe if that time away she's a little fresh and ready to jump out of there, having not seen her since June.
She has to get faster, but I think that her first 3 races might be something to build upon. And let's say, hypothetically, she didn't even do her best running over a wet track, which is what happened in her second and third start. So you can always forgive a debut, and then maybe if she's a faster horse on a fast track, I see the upside and the potential to want to take this horse as an alternative. But this is a competitive group, and it's hard to really judge if we see horses like Chasing Daylight and Snapping Buttons both be forwardly placed. It could set it up for somebody from further back, or maybe one of them isn't as aggressive today.
So there's Jose Lezcano adjusting that equipment in the Silks of Lady Sheila's stable for Linda Rice off the bench. That crazy price on the 4 has finally started to come down at 5-1 at one point, down to 7-2, which is still enticing for Rob Atras with Manny Franco on that 4 horse, 5-time winner.
Yeah, I bet at this price I had to. That's too high.
Favorite, though, every step of the way has been Linda Rice's First Class Cat, the 6. 5-year-old mare, 3-time winner, coming off a good effort from off the pace last start. See what happens here as she loads in. Set for the 6th. Let's go to Chris Griffin.
Brooklyn Dance. Snapping Buttons. Snapping Buttons. Goes in. All set. And they're off. And one very awkward at the start was Chasing Daylight. Chasing Daylight was off very slowly. Mama's Got a Gun is towards the back end of the field too. On the far outside, here's Snappin' Buttons, has a neck advantage, and Snappin' Buttons is going to cross over. First Class Cat is right there from second. Chasing Daylight after the start is absolutely rolling, is now just running freely out in the center of the racetrack. Expended a lot of energy, 24-1, and now a pace duels on the front end as Chasing Daylight has joined Snappin' Buttons. Snappin' Buttons is trying to kick away as Chasing Daylight is right there in second now. First Class Cat is in third. Towards the inside, here comes Valentine Gift, and under drive there comes Book of Wisdom trying to make up some ground from fifth. Out wider, Embraceable Gal, and Mama's Got a Gun starts to run on from the back. The trailer is now Brooklyn Dance. 48-1. The half-mile time, Snappin' Buttons, Chasing Daylight is trying to keep up, but is dropping back through the field now as here's First Class Cat who presents a challenge. Snappin' Buttons is going to hug the rail, kicks for home. Snappin' Buttons with a 4-length advantage. They continue to chase Snappin' Buttons. Here comes the run from First Class Cat, grandstand side Embraceable Gal, but they're just not cutting into the margin of Snappin' Buttons, who is almost home. It is all Snappin' Buttons, now up by 6 widening lengths. Snappin' Buttons will get the victory. Snappin' Buttons will win it over Embraceable Gal. Valentine Gift and First Class Cat in 1 minute 26-4.
That was a filly who looked like she had a very promising career ahead of her through the first 3 starts of her career, then went to the bench from May to November, and a couple of starts back just didn't seem like the same type of filly. It looks a lot different today.
she was able to secure the early lead, and she definitely wanted it. There was a lot of intention to get that forward position, able to see out the 7 furlong distance, but we have to talk about the start for Chasing Daylight, who just wants to be forwardly placed, was off so slowly, and then expended so much energy, as Chris Griffin highlighted in his call, to range up. And I think that Snappin' Buttons was just the one able to set the comfortable rhythm and able to win convincingly in here, because her main pace rival just did not get out of the gate.
Yeah, definitely gets a big assist. Let's go back. Keep your eyes on the 1. And that's very, very bad. Essentially race over from there with her running style.
Absolutely. And I think that just she is such that front-running type that she wants to be forward, and so Romero, I think, made the right choice in not fighting with her and trying to raid her after that poor start, because what are you really supposed to do? Have a battle with her at the back after that, or just let her run free, do her thing, and then try again next time?
And with her out of the mix, Sofia Vives on Snappin' Buttons able to take advantage and dominate this field. 7-4-3-6, 7-1 upset here on a major reversal in form after 2 dismal return efforts off the bench. Third time back, much different again, being alone with the other speed not breaking well helped quite a bit. We'll have the prices when we come back.
At the Keeneland September yearling sale, the premier thoroughbred auction venue in the world, Mandy Pope of Whisper Hill Farm signed the ticket on the $5 million sale topper by Curlin, bred by Stone Street Thoroughbred Holdings. He was one of $5 million plus yearlings by Curlin to sell. No fewer than 44 of his yearlings fell to the auction gavel, averaging nearly $600,000, making Curlin the #1 sales sire at the September sale. Curlin, the classic sire.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got 'em. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at NairaBets.com.
City of Light, multiple Grade 1 winner, who posted 7 triple-digit buyers, stands to continue the legacy of his sire, Quality Road, with graded stakes winners, Menti, Chop Chop, and Formidable Man. Sire of multiple Grade 1 winner and champion 2-year-old Fierceness.
A powerhouse win.
City of Light, a proven sire in the making, standing at Lane's End Farm.
There's a big, bold, beautiful world waiting to be explored by you and your friends, of course. But not just any friends, the best of friends. The kind of friends who let you do you. Because in this world, it's positive vibes only. And when you get in the zone here, you stay a while. These aren't just good times, they're the best of times. And your time is now. So come explore. Resorts World.
Back with you on our Friday coverage on Fox Sports 2, brought to you in part by legendary Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. Race 6 in the books here in New York. Snapping Buttons. Never hurts to get a little bit lucky, but was pretty good too.
She was, and I think the blinkers did their job because she was very professional in this effort, and for a horse that had gotten a little bit lost out there and not shown the kind of early speed that we've come to expect from her last time, she was able to rebound off of a poor performance and get back to the kind of early speed we'd seen from her in the past, able to see out another furlong, and just seemed like she was able to keep a straighter course overall, a little bit drifting in, but I don't think it was quite as severe as we've seen from her in the past. And of course, as you mentioned, getting a little lucky with some assistance on the front end with the main pace rival not getting out of the gate.
7-1 upset here. 7-4-3-6 finish. Still waiting for this one to go official. Antonio Arriaga Barn, Sofia Vives continuing to make a nice impact here in New York from Canada, and wins for Next Level Stables. So just there we go, becomes official, and we'll move on to the feature in a moment. We're going to take a time out. We'll be back. Much more coming up on a big weekend ahead out in Hot Springs. That man right there is used to being loaded with 3-year-old talent. He's got a good one in Patch Adams. How good is he? We will find out more in the Southwest on Saturday in his stakes debut.
And here comes the champion, Essential Quality. Essential Quality off the top of the turn, and he's opened up a 2-length lead, but Spielberg is running a massive race after him in second. Jackie's Warrior has been defeated. It is Essential Quality and Spielberg 1-2 a 16th out, and Essential Quality is just too good. Essential Quality, the champion, wins the Southwest.
Delayed 2 weeks in the darkness and mud. Essential Quality's 3-year-old debut in the 21 Southwest. Richie en route to an eventual championship campaign.
Yeah, coming off an undefeated 2-year-old championship 2-year-old season. Started his 3-year-old campaign with this win, followed it up with a victory in the Bluegrass. Lone blemish against straight 3-year-olds was in the Kentucky Derby where he was third, but then he reeled off the Belmont Stakes, the Jim Dandy, and the Run Happy Travers Stakes before finishing third against older horses in the Breeders' Cup Classic. Truly a championship campaign.
Patch Adams, not quite as accomplished just yet, but he is trained by Brad Cox. Field for tomorrow's Southwest Stakes. 42 Kentucky Derby points available. 20 to the winner. $1 million purse. Patch Adams, 5-2 second choice. For Brad Cox, his second career start, Richie, at Churchill Downs. Blazing, blinding speed. in the stretch for this 2-year-old to run that fast in just his second career start.
This was an amazing performance, and basically every stride from the 8th pole to the wire, he was putting more separation on him in the field. He ran fast early, he ran fast in the middle, and he ran fast late. This is a serious racehorse, and looking at him from a physical perspective, Lafitte, he looks like a horse that will get more ground. He's got a lot of size and scope to him.
Lots to like, Maggie, but a lot of firsts as well for Patch Adams in tomorrow's Southwest.
That's right. First time around 2 turns and first time here running at Oaklawn, but he has been preparing over at Payson Park, in which first year, I believe, Brad Cox has horses stabled there in South Florida. And upon talking with Brad, sounds like he's really excited about the horses that he has been preparing there, including Patch Adams, whom we did see train here, well, at the beginning of this afternoon after today's 3rd race here at Oaklawn. He's one of those kind of typical into mischiefs that the faster they go, the better they look, as he is under a really controlled gallop here beneath Cesar Martinez, exercise rider aboard him today. But Patch Adams, looking at him, he's quite big. You know, there's a lot of him, there's a lot of scope. So getting extra ground, I don't think will be a problem. And what I liked is that he was so comfortable in rating last time and breaking his maiden that once the reins were shook at him, he kind of exploded, as we just watched in that replay beneath Florent Giroux. He will, another first, have a new rider aboard tomorrow Flavien Prat. I mean, I think that's a pretty good change. Lafitte, wouldn't you say, to get Flavien Prat aboard for your first try at Graded Stakes?
Yeah, that'll work. Flavien Prat shattering records at Saratoga, most Graded Stakes victories in a single season for a jockey to ride. Patch Adams tomorrow, and for Brad Cox, yeah, maybe things starting to turn, Richie, at just the right time after an uncharacteristically slow start to this Oaklawn meet.
Well, I think that's well said, uncharacteristically slow start. I mean, it was interesting, too. Brad Cox winning in all other jurisdictions where he has horses stabled. Just didn't get off the mark at Oaklawn until yesterday, but another win today. So it just feels like they've gotten that ship righted.
As we get set for this 6th race here at Oaklawn Park, what have you noticed, Patch Adams, in terms of his training since that maiden win?
Well, so, Brad Cox has horses at Payson Park, which is a training center about 100 miles north of Gulfstream Park. He has horses stabled there this winter. He got into Payson right before Christmas, Patch Adams. Slow half, 50 and change, came back with a slow half and 49 and 2. And then I liked the way the workouts really started to amp up, right? He comes back with a 101, best of 4, a 101 and 1, best of 10, now a minute and a fifth, best of 17. It feels like they really cranked it up and got him pointed towards this spot. I expect a big effort.
Derby prospects tomorrow in the Southwest. Meantime, Maggie, $10,000 claimers here in the 6th race at Oaklawn, 2 minutes out, but a wide open competitive horse race.
Yeah, and also want to just really quick get back to Patch Adams. I was remiss not to mention that his workmate, Hit Show, who returned to the races to win a Graded Stake at the fairgrounds. As we'll take a look here, or I believe a stake, but we'll start with Rockstar Parking, who's taking a lot of money, and she just blew the break last time. She hopped up in the air for a mare who generally has a bit more early speed than what we saw from her. So I suppose if you're willing to forgive her for that, fine, but she's going to have to break to be involved here. She did come in very sharp. She's been on the muscle, very keen. At least watching her demeanor, to get in the starting gate. She looks okay overall. Do I love her as the favorite? Not really, but it is a precipitous drop in class, and sometimes the best hop is the drop. Another horse that is taking money is number 8, Roland Chrome. But as she sits at 4-1, this is a step up after being eased for 5 at Remington Park, which we don't often see that form translate that well. Watching that race, she kind of broke with speed, but her tail went straight up in the air. She really shortened stride down the backside, and watching her, she just looked a bit short, even walking in the paddock behind. So lacking some, fluidity in her movement throughout her hindquarters. She does return wearing also front wraps only here, and she just looks okay overall. Another horse coming off a layoff that just took a big late hits. Number 1, Proud Mule. Now, she was involved in a pace that evaporated last time out at Delaware, but she did stop badly against some tougher company. She looks fantastic here for Dan Ward, who I respect. He's a longtime horseman. Great conditioning here on Proud Mule. She's the kind of layoff horse that I would fool around with and continuing to take money, Lafitte, as they load.
Proud Mule, Maggie, 8-1 now. You saw that $1 million shot of the starting gate just before this $10,000 claiming sprint, where it's post time, race 6, Oaklawn, live on Fox Sports 2. Here's Matt Dinneman.
Blazingly Zid and Laroff. A little bit of a tardy break from Proud Mule, who's towards the back of the field, is trying to rush up there. A good battle on the lead here. Icy River narrowly ahead early. Rolling Chrome to the outside, matching him and clipping heels there. Rockstar Parking. Christian Torres did a good job to keep this one going, but has dropped towards the back of the field after that. Proud Mule from the inside is moving forward and has a share of the lead with the gray Icy River. Rolling Chrome is 3 deep, farther out Blazingly parked wide as they go into the far turn. Trafalgar Shore runs in the 5th position, 4 lengths off the pace as they dart around the turn. A gap of 3 to Dixie Penny is sent along. Kittiara losing position. She's done. Candy Arcade passing the 2 aforementioned rivals. She's on the move, and the others are well out of it. Rockstar Parking 3rd last. Top of the stretch. Icy River is given way on the front end. Proud Mule is still there. Here comes Trafalgar Shore between horses with a nice rally. Outside Rolling Chrome's not done, attempting to fight back down the center of the track. She's drifted out. Grandstand side. Here comes Candy Arcade. And Candy Arcade and Martin Garcia with a 16th to go have taken a short lead here. Candy Arcade in front. And it's Candy Arcade, 2 wins in a row for her. Second home, Trafalgar Shore, then Rolling Chrome. And Kittiara re-rallied for a superfecta position.
He's won Derby preps at Oaklawn for Bob Baffert. Martin Garcia winning pilot here. Candy Arcade at 5-1 in the 6 at Oaklawn Park.
Yeah, back-to-back wins and now 2 for 2 at Oaklawn Park. I'm a big believer in horses for courses. Some horses just excel on different surfaces or in different jurisdictions. Candy Arcade, very well-timed ride by Martin Garcia. No excuses for your runner-up. Trafalgar Shore under Eric Asmussen for his dad, Steve. They flew back together this morning from those Eclipse Awards in Florida. And Eric lost his apprentice allowance just a week ago, so now he is a full-fledged journeyman.
Again, congratulations to the Asmussen family. Eric Asmussen, Eclipse Award-winning apprentice, has to settle for 2nd in this one on Trafalgar Shore. Contender Rockstar Parking number 2, some trouble up the backstretch.
Yeah, your favorite Rockstar Parking was in close down the backstretch, wound up clipping heels, bobbled. Christian Torres did a really good job keeping this mare balanced and staying in the middle, but it basically cost her all chance and took her completely out of the race.
Leaving the door open for Candy Arcade, back-to-back wins, Bergen Stables, Dan Ward, Martin Garcia in the 6th Oaklawn. Prices forthcoming. Greg, time for the late double at Aqueduct.
It is. Thank you. Feature race is approaching the 5-minute mark to post. This one a 50,000 starter allowance. 1 turn mile coming up, and blame it on Daddy. Horacio de Paz, Luis Rivera Jr. coming off a win, Sarah. Favored right now. And that was, in terms of the group that he's going to be facing this afternoon, very good effort that could make him very tough to beat in here.
If he can repeat that last race, he's one of the main contenders in here. It seems like Better's focusing on the 3 to the outside in here, the 5, 6, and 7. And looking at his last race, I mean, it's not as though that race came out of nowhere on the dirt, because he'd shown that he could handle the surface as a 2-year-old in his first 2 starts. And with progressive improvement, those numbers just seem to line up. But the problem is that you missed the boat at 13-1 last time, and now he's a much shorter price.
There's the man who will pilot the 5-year-old today, Luis Rivera Jr. And yeah, horses kind of got lost a little bit probably in that race because he'd been on turf for so long, but certainly showing, capable on dirt. But now going to get a little tougher group to try and go back-to-back.
This is a race where you do have a lot that are hypothetically stepping up in class on paper, but these horses have been running numbers that just really seem like they belong in this kind of group, and many of them facing some tough horses and tough races for the levels in terms of the claiming races they have been in. So this is a group that's run into some tough company in the past, and it seems as though they're well matched against each other in here.
And seemingly, we'll see. It looks like the public getting things right. Smile Mon, even money, morning line the 5. And the last time went backwards a little bit in a tougher spot, but the 2, 3, 4 starts back, all of those races just seem a lot better than what anyone else can produce in here.
The question is the class test for this horse, but clearly one that has been in good form. And while you look at that first win for the $16,000 non-winners of 2, he's beating York Tavern, a horse who has the propensity to finish second. Then he's facing a slightly tougher field, gets the win again, then runs a 90 buyer when finishing second, stepping up again. And even that 81 he ran last time out, the winner of that race, Grooven, ran a 99 buyer in that race, which was an absolute career best for him. So is he one that's really stepping up in class? I think that's hard to totally judge because any of his last 4 races, even with that regression, they still put him right in the mix.
Post parade coming up here in a moment. Riders up. There's JJ's Joker. Biggest price on the board, that 4. Smile Mon, here is the one who was even money on the morning line, that 5, 2-1 favorite right now. Manny Franco for Rob Atras. As we get to our post parade, and we'll start with the remaining half of the entry. Timaeus will break 3rd to the outside.
I like this horse stretching back out in distance and should be forward in here.
The rail to this one, scat to tap, and a big, big effort 2 starts ago and a win.
He's had a nice trip in that race, a similar figure in his last start, stepping up to this level. He was a well-beaten 4th in there, but certainly has ability on the dirt.
Tom Morley Barnes second off the claim. This is Holton.
If you think that he just didn't handle the slop and did no running last time out for that reason, he's getting a fast track and goes second off the claim here with some numbers that fit.
Here's the biggest price on the board. Francisco Martinez on JJ's Joker.
He's been consistent lately, but consistently not getting his picture taken over those last few, though those 3 races are numbers, again, similar to the rest of these.
Price continuing to come down with good reason on Smile Mon.
Looks to be a forward type in this spot, probably your early pace setter, and just has some faster numbers.
Blame it on Daddy. Got back to dirt, ran a good effort in a win, and we'll see this horse maybe has some room to improve again.
Seems like last time was the time from a wagering perspective, but a repeat of that race, I understand why he's taking the money he is.
And 5-1 outside, Ruben Silvera on Mo Rewards, Jamie Nesbarn. A couple of really big efforts, but they were out of town at Parks.
They were, and he did run here 2 starts ago, exiting a race that has proven to be extremely productive for the $16,000 level.
2 minutes away, race 7 in this 1-turn mile coming up. So 8-5 favoritism, Smile Mon Acacia for Rob Atras. How does he look?
Well, he looks okay. We'll get to him in a moment, Greg. Just keeping with the camera order with Blame It on Daddy. He was the one that actually opened up as your favorite in a horse that I'd actually picked, I think, 2 and 3 back at monster prices. So, of course, when I go south for the winter, he finally gets back on the dirt and he wins at 13-1. So, as Sarah said, you do have to take the worst of it from a wagering perspective today, as he is a much shorter price, but he continues to do well. He's one that I think was very much a work in progress for Horacio de Paz, and he's held himself well, certainly fit, the most relaxed that he's been in a long time. And like I said, I'd even liked him a couple of races back, but clearly getting back onto the dirt and some softer company overall has done this guy well. So we'll see if he can do it 2 in a row. Now back over to the 5, Smile Mon. I will say he looks a lot better out on track now that he's gotten moving, because at first I was a bit disappointed when I saw him in the paddock. He's totally lost his coat and his color, and he's one that kind of wears his heart on his sleeve, where you kind of know that he's going to run one of his better races based on how he's doing. And the reason that we talk about the way that their coat is looking so much is because it really can be indicative of just the overall well-being of the horse. How are they doing overall coming into this? Now, he's moving well out on the track. He's a very large horse and was off slow last time out, a little bit awkward from the inside, and wasn't comfortable off the pace for a horse that's typically much more forward. So I'm wondering if what I'm seeing from him today is a sign that he's trending in the wrong direction after some of those big efforts and the way that he ran last time out. We'll see. Could he win this race? Absolutely, especially if he can get back into his preferred running style. Now, the number 1, Timaeus, who Sarah had some interest in, I agree, as he does get to stretch back out in distance. and 2 starts back, the last time that he went long in that first level allowance. Overall, I think a much tougher company. And last time out when sprinting was in the middle part of an early pace of 3 horses when trying to go 6 furlongs. I think not necessarily what he wanted. He's pretty solid. He should appreciate getting to go longer. And he was sharp, very sharp, stepping out onto the track as well, but has settled nicely. And I just think he's going to be able to get into his stride a bit better with some more ground underneath his feet, Greg.
Keisha, thank you. 4-5. That price continuing to get lower and lower on the morning line favorite here, Smile Mon.
He's just coming in with faster races, but I think that there are some other interesting options in terms of horses that potentially have a little bit more upside versus one that he's been in great form, but overall just sort of wondering how high up the class ladder he can climb and maintain the same level of form.
Meanwhile, here's the 2. Jose Gomez adjusting those goggles, has the rail, and has that race 2 back that makes him very interesting in here, although he did not back it up next time out, but going a little bit longer, he cuts back to a distance where he was successful at.
He's interesting if you like him, and he's a big price, but he wasn't for me. He seems a little pace compromised.
Barn, who just won the last with snapping buttons with Scat to Tap. Antonio Arriaga looking to go back-to-back. Odds-on favorite, though, Smile Mon, Manny Franco, Rob Atris, the 5, the 1 to beat. Here in the 7th, in this Friday feature, let's go to Chris Griffin for the call.
Mo Rewards. Mo Rewards just hesitates, goes in, all set. And they're off. Good speed, hustle along here is Holton, and Scat to Tap is off slowly. Towards the outside is Smile Mon, and the lime green silks, and Smile Mon now puts a nose in front. It's Smile Mon, who's got the front end for Manny Franco. Chasing is Timaeus, is right to the outside, and Blame It on Daddy is joining them. It's now going to be in the 3 path here, makes it 4 across the racetrack with Mo Rewards, the widest, as they're on the backstretch now. 23 and 1 for that opening quarter mile. Smile Mon has the lead. Blame It on Daddy is a shared second with Mo Rewards still wide. Then at the rail, that's Timaeus, as they are lined up in behind the leader. Just behind them comes Holton, and to the outside is JJ's Joker, and the trailer, Scat to Tap. Smile Mon is doling out the fractions, doing it nicely, and Smile Mon, Manny Franco still up by 2, less than a half mile to go, and 46 and 4 was the half mile time. Timaeus is in pursuit, and Mo Rewards is chasing now, is taken third, is all in, is Blame It on Daddy and losing ground. At the rail is Holton, is waiting for some room, and here comes a run from JJ's Joker from the back, and Scat to Tap has still trailed. Smile Mon has had it all his own way. Smile Mon approaches a quarter mile left to go, is well in hand and has the lead. Confident look back here from Manny Franco, and Smile Mon gets the cue, is extending the margin, is up by 3.5. Here in the clear is Holton, and Holton is giving game chases. Smile Mon is trying to put it away. Holton starts to move in a touch closer inside this final furlong. Smile Mon is going to try and hold on, as here comes Holton with some momentum. Smile Mon with less than a 16th to go, trying to chase this Holton. Scat to Tap from far out of it. Smile Mon does enough. Holton was second, then came Scat to Tap and Timaeus in 1 minute 39.59 seconds.
Smile Mon, too good. Opened up that big margin. Hangs on late at odds on to get the 4th win of his career.
If only it was always as simple as the fastest horse wins the race, Greg. I mean, this horse got everything his own way, but he was coming in with some of the fastest numbers, consistent recent form, and able to pass the class test, though he did have a very favorable trip.
4-5 at the end. Opened up. Dominant advantage early on against this group, was on cruise control as Holton tried to make it interesting late to no avail. So the chalk with the victory. Smile Mon, 3 wins now in the last 5 starts for trainer Rob Atris. 5-3-2-1. You do get some big prices underneath, 10-1, 21-1 to complete the trifecta.
Yeah, a couple of no-shows from some of the other horses that were taking some money in this race. But, I mean, your favorite did oblige, but this is how you can make money in these types of races. If you like a horse that's a bit of a price, you can include them in some of your exotics. Now, I didn't have the right horses for that, but Smile Mon, logical to get to. The others, a little more creativity.
Prices when we come back. Linda Rice looking at another stakes victory over the weekend. St. Benedict's Prep just missed in a stake out of town. We'll line up in the Interborough at her preferred distance. We'll have a preview ahead.
Seize the Gray wins convincingly.
Seize the Gray. He's going to seize the day in the Pennsylvania Derby.
Seize the Gray is still there. Seize the Gray wins the Preakness.
Enhance your handicapping with AI Fastbacks, exclusively on NyraBets. Open your NyraBets app, click View Runner Details, and a stat-driven fact will appear for all U.S. thoroughbred racehorses. Download the NyraBets app to start using Fastbacks today.
RaceLens is the most in-depth product in horse racing, with unique features found nowhere else. True odds, predictive analysis, and pace projection. RaceLens. It will change the way you follow horse racing and take your game to the next level.
What's at stake? $1 million purse. Oaklawn Stakes races are where horses step out of the shadows and into the spotlight, and where Triple Crown dreams begin. The Southwest Stakes is coming. It's the race where the legend of Mystic Dan began.
Mystic Dan is turning it on.
And it's back and bigger than ever. Big crowds, big names, and a big old payday.
Mystic Dan, a dominant win.
This is your Oaklawn.
Back with you on our Friday coverage on Fox Sports 2. Odds-on favorite, Smile Mon gets the job done. At a short price at 4-5 here for Rob Atras, Manny Franco. And the 5-year-old son of Run Happy wins for the 4th time in his career.
He's just been in raging form for the Atras barn. He's been well spotted, able to progressively move up in class as well, and had things his own way on the front end, but able to hold off a couple of prices underneath.
Yeah, Holton Scat to tap. Complete a trifecta that comes back for 50 cents, almost $50 there with a 4-5 favorite on top. But no doubt about your winner in this spot. Race 8 to close out our Friday action here in New York. Of course, a lot more to come from Hot Springs, but we will close out the card here in South Ozone Park with a New York bred $30,000 maiden claiming sprint. All trying to get that first win here, 6 furlongs the distance. Talk about a wide open betting group.
We've had a formful day so far outside of snapping buttons. This is a race where I think there could be some chaos in terms of the prices. Nobody a sure thing or coming in with any sure form to this race.
Yeah, actually, we'll correct those odds, too. I don't know if maybe it was just a last-minute glitch. The 6 is actually 4-1. Your slight favorite right now. I'll tell you how wide open this race is right now.
I mean, this horse is one of the ones that has some races that compete, but there's nobody that's a standout in this spot whatsoever. I think this is the spot to get creative.
Teased it going to break. Linda Rice will send out St. Benedict's Prep in the Interborough coming up this weekend. Obviously socially selective for Bill Mott. Looks like she is the one to beat from that outside post. 7 furlongs. Fillies, mares, 4 and up. Purse of $150,000. And St. Benedict's Prep, this has no question been her best distance, 7/8 of a mile.
It has, and if she can get back to this race 2 back, she's a major threat to win this race because she has that good early speed. She clearly has run well and been in good form when we've seen her on this circuit. The question with her is whether or not she can rebound after a disappointing performance at Laurel in that last start. And if she can, and Linda Rice, of course, knows her very well and has spotted her very well, and she wouldn't be entered if she wasn't fit and ready to go. But I just sort of wonder if we're going to see her bounce back after a poor effort, and if I want her at a short price doing so.
Yeah, not just that she got beat as a favorite, beat by a nose. Just a lot slower race than we're used to seeing from her, but we'll see. Coming back to New York, coming back to her preferred distance. Can she get back to that top form? Socially Selective, though, is going to be a tough customer.
She's the horse to beat, but she's kind of that one-number type coming in off a big last race and has to repeat it if she's going to really justify the short odds that she's likely to be in this spot. But we'll see. I think the interesting horse in that race is Scalable right to her inside at a fair price.
That is coming up on tomorrow's coverage early on, race 3 at 1:42 Eastern start time on that Saturday card. We're going to take a timeout. We will be back continuing to produce in that jockey colony out in Hot Springs. Christian Torres, he only started riding back in 2019, quickly rose to the top of the ranks out in Oaklawn. He was the fastest ever to reach $1 million in earnings back at the January meet of 2023 and still riding high.
Every champion has a beginning, and for many that journey starts in Oaklawn's Southwest Stakes. From the race's early days to its role in crowning legends like Smarty Jones in 2004.
Smarty Jones continues undefeated, wins the Southwest by 3/4.
And Essential Quality in 2021.
Essential Quality, the champion, wins the Southwest.
The Southwest has become a cornerstone of thoroughbred racing history.
And we're off.
Just last year, Mystic Dan stormed to victory in the Southwest Stakes.
Here comes Mystic Dan right up the rail, though, with a rail skimming ride. Mystic Dan 5
6 ahead, and he wins wrapped up, a dominant win in the Southwest.
Fans would later see the 2024 Southwest winner claim the roses in the Kentucky Derby.
Mystic Dan, who's begging for the wire. Forever Young and Sierra Leone keep on coming. Sierra Leone, Forever Young, and Mystic Dan. A wild finish. Here's the wire. Photo finish.
Solidifying the race's reputation as a launch pad for greatness. This year, the stakes are even higher. On January 25th, a $1 million purse is on the line as contenders race to prove themselves in the second stop of Oaklawn's road to the Kentucky Derby. With a rich legacy of launching legends, the Southwest continues to be the ultimate proving ground. Who will rise to the challenge and etch their name into history? Don't miss the opportunity to witness another champion in the 60th running of the Grade 3 Southwest Stakes. Saturday, January 25th at Oaklawn, where history is made.
What a ride from the Southwest Stakes to the Kentucky Derby. Worked out to perfection for Mystic Dan last year, Richie. And look at that. You win a Derby prep here, you win a Kentucky Derby, they make a bobblehead of you. That's the rule.
Well, I think he earned it with that gritty, determined, courageous effort in the Kentucky Derby. And the one thing we know about Oaklawn Park and Hot Springs in general, it is a racing town. They appreciate horses like Mystic Dan, who used the Southwest to springboard to Kentucky Derby glory. And I think it's very fitting that we have this bobblehead. Yeah, I know. I like this. Look at this. And you know what? A real likeness to Mystic Dan. They did a great job with it.
They did. I think it's the first bobblehead giveaway at Oaklawn Park since it's American Pharoah, of course, who swept through the Rebel Stakes and the Arkansas Derby, a Triple Crown winner. Mystic Dan last year, the Southwest, the Kentucky Derby. Hero tomorrow, giveaway here, Southwest Stakes Saturday for fans, the bobblehead here at Oaklawn Park. This year's field for the Southwest Stakes. Last year produced 3 Kentucky Derby runners. How productive will this year's edition be with $1 million purse? A Sandman, number 6, Christian Torres to ride. He's a $1.2 million colt. He found his winning form again. Richie, after finishing 5th in the Iroquois and 3rd in the Street Sense at Churchill Downs, mid-December, an allowance race right here. Sandman, you saw him coming through on the rail to the inside, the gray here, pretty solid late run.
I really like this effort. I like the way he negotiated his way through traffic. He's a horse that's got a lot of size and scope to him, and he showed very good acceleration, a lot of athleticism to extricate himself from a tough spot. He was a horse that showed a lot of ability when he broke his maiden in Saratoga, a son of Tappet, went right into stakes company. To me, this was a reset. Get his confidence back, a little easier company, and the way he did it makes me feel like he's got a big step forward in him.
Trained by Mark Casse, Maggie. Dismiss anything Mark Casse saddles these days at your own peril.
And for his first time having a string here throughout the winter, he is firing his team, firing on all cylinders here at Oaklawn Park. And Sandman, one of those several winners that they have put there on the board. And Sandman's a horse that actually broke his maiden in Saratoga, was highly regarded, obviously, with that purchase price that you just mentioned of $1.2 million. The hopes are always going to be high, but Mark Casse not lost in wanting this horse to have a big future, because as he said, he's shown so much in the morning in his training, but really hadn't showed it until last time what he's capable of. And having seen him in Saratoga, I thought from the get-go that he's a horse that should really appreciate the longer distances and be a horse that is capable of handling these classic distances. So I think Sandman is very, very interesting heading into the Southwest tomorrow, Lafitte.
With Christian Torres, as we mentioned, last year the winner, the Smarty Jones. He also rode Timberlake in the Rebel Stakes, trying for a first Southwest Stakes tomorrow. What do you think the key is from a race shape standpoint for Torres to be successful with Sandman?
Well, I think he wants pace. Sandman wants to settle and make a run, and we saw how well he negotiated the traffic in that allowance race. It gives Christian Torres options, but I do think for him to be the most effective, needs a legitimate pace.
So Greg in the studio back in New York, guys, what are you looking forward to most? What are you expecting? What 3-year-old have you keyed in on for tomorrow's Southwest Stakes?
I think bringing up Sandman, thanks guys, is really one of the intriguing stories of this entire race. Anytime a horse sells for $1.2 million before he ever steps on a racetrack, there's expectations. And we saw that big effort from him in the summer at Saratoga. And Mark Cassidy had talked about him just being a little disappointed with how well he's trained, how he's performed in those couple of graded stakes off the maiden win, but kind of got back to expectations last time out.
Yeah, maybe there isn't that much of an answer for some of those races where he didn't perform up to those expectations, as you mentioned, but he certainly did in his last start, earning that 89 Beyer speed figure, getting that victory, and I think that he could see some pace in here with a lot of horses trying to get this distance for the first time. I think that he's interesting and going to be a fair enough price if you like him in this race. I like him quite a bit based on his last race.
And what are we going to get from gaming, too? Bob Baffert said he was maybe a little bit light on him coming out of the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, going to that Los Al Futurity, said a horse wasn't himself in the paddock. So maybe we see a totally different version of this horse, the horse we saw on Breeders' Cup Juvenile Day, who ran that big effort.
He did run that big effort, as you mentioned, but he's also one that had things really go his way from a trip standpoint in this race. I just want to see what he's really made of if he faces a challenge within the race, what he can show us, because clearly there's some ability and he's very fast. I just want to see him do it when things don't all go his way.
$1 million race, more importantly, points to get into that starting gate for that first Saturday in May in the Kentucky Derby and that Grade 3 Southwest. We'll have live coverage for you on Saturday. Still have the nightcap to come this afternoon from New York. Feature still ahead in Hot Springs. This horse would be a bit of a surprise to close things out. We'll have the post parade when we come back.
Was Full Count Felicia, never in doubt.
Coming down to the finish, First World War, Fort Washington on the outside. They're coming down to the line, and Goliad does it.
Warfront, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got them. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at NairaBets.com.
The only colt ever to win 3 one-mile Grade 1s on dirt. Ran the fastest Beyer of the year. That's him, 6 wide, streaking clear.
Here comes Cody's
2 more Grade 1s at 7/8. Here's his forego, also running a 112 Beyer. That's 5 Grade 1s all told. No other son of Sires Curlin has so many. They say, be careful what you wish for. We agree.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Gearing up for this finale on the card here at South Ozone Park, New York, in this 6 furlong sprint for New York-bred $30,000 maiden claiming company. And we'll get a look at the field here in the post parade in just a moment. That one right there, the 3 just went by in our screen. Lowest level of competition he'll have run against yet, and right now the mild favorite at 7-2.
A horse that is making that drop in class, maiden special weight, 2 maiden claiming, and first time getting onto the dirt in his last start, and showed some speed before fading in there. That was tougher company than he's facing in here. The blinkers do go on, and just seems to be logically spotted and hoping that he can sustain that speed. But I think that there are some other horses that could be forward in here, and it's not just as simple as taking a horse at a short price in a wide open field.
3-1 though, fair price with the class drop, and it faced a decent one last time out, and we're going to see run later this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, this is a fair price. I think there's other ways to go, but if you like him, whoever ends up favored in this race, and I do believe it will be him, you are getting a fair price because there's just not a ton to go on in terms of who do you trust and who do you have confidence in with either limited starts or not competitive recent form.
Next door, the 2, Catani, taking some play as well. Michelle Nevenbarn, Jose Lezcano. And last couple of starts have come, tries at this condition. Middle of the pack type finishes, finishing 5th in a field of 12 and then 4th in a field of 10.
Yeah, cutting back in distance, though, at least, and maybe that will help get this one the right kind of setup because he's been sort of that mid-pack type in recent efforts at the mile on dirt. Well, now maybe he gets to make one closing run and prefers that. I don't know what his preferred type of distance is. I think we'll see as time goes on, but he's interesting if you like him.
And that's who will ride. Oh, there's Jose Lezcano, well equipped for the cold weather here. He'll be on Catani, the 2. Career start number 8, but again, only a couple of tries on dirt since the debut that came on a dirt surface, Saratoga, a couple of summers ago. Then it was 4 straight tries on grass. See if it's a different story. Spurning for the first time on this surface for Catani. There's the favorite again, Omi Island, David Duggan. And showed some speed last time out, too. It's shown turf sprint speed, blinkers on. It looks like the game plan clear for Omi Island. They want to go to the front.
Yeah, I think that's very obvious from what they're showing us and the way that he ran in his last race. And that could be enough in here, but I think that we might see some others that want to be a little bit more forward, but he might just be best.
Here's Catani. We'll kick off the post parade again, Jose Lezcano.
As we said, cutting back in distance, and maybe he is able to get the right kind of setup.
4-1 on this 5-year-old trying to get that first win. Drive through, Matty Olver rides.
He did show a lot more early speed in his last start, so maybe that's a good sign for him. Finished 4th that day.
The favorite, 5-2, should be in front, Omi Island.
Very logical, taking one of the biggest drops in racing, that maiden special weight to maiden claiming.
Swept. Rider change, Heeman Harkey.
One of 3 that would result in a pick 6 carryover.
45-1 on Swept, who's had 7 starts, never hit the board. Here's short time, Christopher Elliott.
This is the crazy horse that I like that I'll talk about a little bit more in a little bit. Also making that first drop into claiming company from maiden special weight ranks.
Wind Dancer, career start number 10 here for trainer David Donk.
The last 3 efforts have been consistent. He is able to sort of close in and make that middle move mid-pack.
Knight's Courage, huge numbers. Shown some tactical speed in the past.
I think that he could have an impact on this race from a dynamic standpoint. He can be forward.
Billy and Pete, a first-time starter, so has done nothing wrong.
Taking a little bit of money in this spot. Maybe Better's just looking for a new face and has a half-sibling who won second time out.
Dream Along With Me, start number 2 and gets easier company for the second start and a fast track for the first time.
Exiting the same race as your current favorite, so we'll see what we get with some differences here. Blinkers do go on.
Break the Fall was actually favored at this level last start off a long time away.
He was off for a lengthy layoff, and he did have a stumble at the start, looking to rebound off of that second time in for a tag.
Yeah, major player from that toward the outside post. The 11 flying in style off since March.
He's not impossible. He has some races that would put him in the mix. Second time in for a claiming tag, and we haven't seen him in a while.
And Braca, very distant second at this level. Couple of starts back. I like the appearance here. 25-1 with blinkers on.
He would need to get just a little bit faster if we see a repeat of some recent races from others, and he does have a layoff to contend with, but if you go back to some of his races over the summer, they could fit in this spot.
Omi Island, Acacia, the favorite. Is he going to try and put this field to bed early?
Yes, it certainly does look like that's going to be the case, Greg, and he probably just looks best in here. As Sarah said, arguably that maiden special weight to maiden claiming, the biggest drop that you will see as far as class is concerned. Adding blinkers on to just a short cheater cup. He's compact, he's stout, he's very strong, built much more like a sprinter, and was forward last time out, dueling on the front end, and had quite a wet track to navigate that day as well. I do think that his speed and the drop in class makes him a huge player, as the board would suggest. Now, taking a look at a couple of others, the 2 Katani cuts back in distance. This is a horse that's been a tough one all along. When he came back this year in 2024, race after race, he just was doing too much in the preliminaries before it even got to race time. He's now, as the months have gotten cooler, settled more and was accompanied by the pony throughout in the paddock, went out first in the post parade. For his standards, doing quite well, obviously not getting washy on a day like today, but is still an energetic type. My big concern with him is that he just hasn't really progressed, even as maybe mentally he's gotten to settle a bit more. He does cut back in distance, which, given his demeanor, may actually suit him well. Just need to see him show a bit more, as it looked like he might have had a chance to finish second even last time out, or be right there, and ended up just kind of fading. So we'll see if less ground will help him and those cooler temperatures as well. But a horse that I did land on is the 10 Break the Fall, who, as you said, coming back second off of that extended layoff, probably needed that race with the way that he ran, and yes, stumbled a bit at the start, but kind of stumbled forward, where he was able to still be forwardly placed, but just not enough late. And you did get a strong journeyman rider in Manny Franco up today, which I like. Warmed up beautifully away from the pony as well. So second off the bench, maybe will find himself in the right company, Greg.
Thank you, Acacia. Yeah, the 3 and the 10 look like the 2 overwhelming major players here, don't they?
They do. I don't disagree with that whatsoever. I think that they're both the logical types coming in. I went with a little bit of a crazy horse in Short Time, who had that sort of infamous second place finish behind Crimson Light, the horse who totally missed the start and made this big late run to win, and has not worked or been seen since, and that was over a year ago. He's going to need some pace ahead of him, but he is making a big drop in class in here and comes out of the same race as your favorite.
19-1 on Short Time. The 5, Christopher Elliott, son of Stewart of Smarty Jones fame, won the first 2 legs at the Triple Crown back in 2004. Christopher Elliott is starting to make a knack for making statements early on wherever he shows up to ride. Had early success at quite a few tracks. 42-1 shot stepping in at 9. Dream Along With Me. Another one who's somewhat interesting at a huge price just because we don't know. It was a wet track, was better company first time out. So a lot of changes here, especially easier company, and adds blinkers.
I think you have to just take this horse as a first-time starter.
For Rachel Sells, Eric Cancel rides. Again, had a couple of wins yesterday. Set for this nightcap. 6 furlongs to close things out here in South Ozone Park, New York. Let's go to Chris Griffin.
Braca. Braca goes in. All set. And they're off. Drive through. Down at the rail is up with the early kick, and here comes Omi Island. And now Omi Island will assert, and right there in second, chasing his drive through. Katani is right there with the leaders as well, is now going to claim the second spot, and A Knight's Courage is out wider in fourth. In between horses, here comes Swept, is now that shared fifth with Break the Fall, who's going to be a touch wide here as they approach 4 furlongs left to go. Gap of 3. Back to Wind Dancer, and chasing Wind Dancer to the outside. There comes Flying in Style. Short Time, and far back is going to be Braca. Another one way back there is going to be that lone trailer, and that's Billy and Pete. 23-1 for that opening quarter mile, and Omi Island is in front. It's Omi Island chased by Katani. Drive-through is right in behind them, is in third. A rail skimming ride right now as they approach a quarter mile left to go. Omi Island turns them for home, chased down towards the inside from Drive-through and Katani. They continue to chase this leader, Omi Island, but Omi Island is now sprinting well clear. Omi Island is now up by 3-4 widening lengths, approaching that final furlong, and Omi Island is just opening up this margin with every single stride. Drive-through is a clear second. Back to Katani. It's going to be a photo for fourth, but it's all Omi Island. David Duggan, another training victory on the afternoon. Omi Island wins it, then came Drive-through. Katani, and it was tight there. It's a tight photo between Wind Dancer and Short Time in 1 minute 12 and 4.
This race, as many expected, over pretty early here when the horse got to the front. A few strides out of the gate, and it was good night.
A couple others might have had some intent to be forwardly placed, but this horse was just faster. than both of them early. The two that attempted to apply some pressure, not successful in doing so, ended up settling for minor awards, but class drop, blinkers on, went right to the front and just proved to be too much for the rest of this field.
And just pours it on in the stretch here. 8-5 in the end. Omi Island, your big favorite. Easiest competition this one has faced yet, and it shows. Long way back to drive through. Who gets second here for Rob Atras with Maddie Over aboard at 18-1. But it's the biggest margin of victory I think we've seen at Aqueduct in a long time.
Yeah, this horse was much the best. And I will say about second place finisher at a big price, drive through, being more aggressive and just getting the horse into position. You end up just kind of going around the racetrack and end up being the best of the rest because we didn't see a ton of movement from others in the back. But Omi Island, so much so the best in this race and able to just run right away from lesser competition.
3-1, 2-6 finish, 8-5 favorite with the win here in the nightcap at Aqueduct. Not just the road to the Derby on Saturday from Oaklawn, road to the Oaks gets back on track as well. On quiet side, the one to beat. Grade 1 place in the spin-away this past summer. It was all Omi Island in the nightcap here at Aqueduct. Got out in front from the get-go and never looked back. Luis Rivera Jr. for David Duggan. 4-year-old son of Nyquist, 5th time out. That first career win, taking the big drop down in class to maiden claiming company for the first time in his career.
And it worked out perfectly. A horse that had shown some good speed in that last start against maiden special weight types, now drops in class, getting the victory and putting the blinkers on, and just was nobody in this field was any match whatsoever for the early speed he showed, and no match late.
So Aqueduct card in the books. tomorrow, again, as we showed you going to break, not just about the Derby Road, Road to the Oaks that first Friday in May. Martha Washington prep for that first Friday in May. $300,000 purse, and the man who owned Hot Springs in those preps last year, and of course had that historic Oaks Derby double, well stocked in the Martha Washington as we send it back to Lafitte and Mig.
Very productive Martha Washington the last few years, going back to Secret Oath, who won here in 23 before eventually capturing the Kentucky Oaks.
Yep.
Wet Paint won here a couple of years back, the defeated favorite, fourth place finisher in the Kentucky Oaks. Richie, what do you make of the overall talent in this year's edition?
I like it. I mean, it's a short but select field. Obviously, Quiet Side is the horse that you've got to really take a long, hard look at. She's never run a bad race. She was actually favored over your 2-year-old filly Champion, Immersive in the spin-away. Reminds me a little bit of a bicycle-type horse, meaning if you're not pedaling, she's not running, but she keeps coming. She's just a horse that's kind of at that relentless stride. Doesn't have I would call a turn of foot, Lafitte, but she's a grinder. Just stays, and that speaks well for stamina, getting 1 1/8 miles, which the Kentucky Oaks is. And you can see this was a perfect example of what I was talking about, Lafitte. Tyler Gaffleone, who's riding her for the first time, was riding her from 3/8 pole out, and she kept on. She stayed at it. I think it's very interesting. And then, of course, the short leaf stable connection. Winningest owner in the history, John Ed Anthony of Oaklawn Park, with a homebred filly out of Brenner Island, who was a graded stakes winner for short leaf stable. So a lot of kind of connections that come together here at Oaklawn.
Maggie, what's caught your eye with Quiet Side?
Well, Lafitte, she's one that I had the privilege of seeing up at Saratoga, where she broke her maiden. And while she's a filly that had a lot of substance to her, I always thought that she'll probably mature into a more athletic individual. And by all accounts, according to her trainer, John Ortiz, she has. He said the transformation is significant in her physique, and she just looks tighter overall. So I'm pleased to hear that development has unfolded with Quiet Side. He also said, look, we've been runner-up, we've been the bridesmaids several times in these graded stakes, grade 1, grade 2. We'll see if she can break through in this Martha Washington. As he said, I believe it's our time. So looking forward to seeing Quiet Side tomorrow. Hopefully she gets a little bit of pace to run at in the Martha Washington, Lafitte.
Which, on paper, the race shape looks different with the absence of Her Laugh, who brought a lot of speed to the party in tomorrow's Martha Washington. So as far as it's not going to be quite as hot up front as it would have been otherwise for Quiet Side.
No, she's got a good inside draw, and she might have the right rider in Ricardo Santana, who is a guy that's ultra fit. He looks like he could ride a horse for 2.5 miles and never take a long breath.
That's tomorrow in the Martha Washington, the Honeybee, February 22nd, and then the Fantasy, late March. Oaklawn's premier pep for the Kentucky Oaks, the race, the eventual horse of the year, and 3-year-old filly Champ made her 3-year-old debut last year in Torpedo Anna. We got the bobbleheads going tomorrow with Mystic Dan, the Derby winner. Oaklawn also producing the Oaks winner last season and the horse of the year.
Yeah, some very good horses come through Oaklawn Park, and a lot of it has to do with the comprehensive series of races they have for pretty much every division. Obviously, we're talking 3-year-olds, 3-year-old colts, 3-year-old fillies, but for the older fillies and mares, the older colts and geldings, it just seems like they've really put together such a comprehensive program, and the purse money horses are going to show up.
Biggest weekend of the meet thus far, Southwest Stakes Saturday, the Martha Washington. We'll have it all for you right here on Fox Sports 2. Friday program rolls on. Race 7, 2 minutes out. We check in with Maggie trackside.
Yeah, we'll take a look at a horse stretching back out in distance for my good friend Jordan Blair. And as much as I would love to see Hello Hot Rod, number 6 in here, get the win, and I know he's run well at this distance, I can't help but think that he does look more like a sprinter. Now, he looks fantastic. The other thing that is not going in this horse's favor is Jordan's stats. Sprint to route on the dirt, he is 2 for 27 so with a 63-cent ROI. But to be fair, if you look back, and you have to go back a ways, this Maryland bred was running in stakes at a route of ground and earning buyers in the 80s to 90s. So it's in there, and obviously the proof is already in the pudding. Like I said, he looks fantastic, but I see why he's been only sprinting as of recently. So I think he does deserve a look in here. So we'll also take a look at number 2, Ben Diesel, also stretching back out in distance here, second off the claim. Didn't show anything last time out. Now, his body of work, I think, overall has been better out of town, mainly in Ohio, and he's run okay here in the past at Oaklawn, but he just looks fantastic. Very healthy, great conditioning, laid back, though, in his demeanor, which you'd like to see for a horse that's stretching back out. So he makes a great impression on the track, Lafitte.
Looks the part, Maggie. Let's see how he performs in moments for this $20,000 claiming event. Older horses wide open in a similar scenario that we tackled about an hour ago, Richie, with the 1 mile 2-turn race here at Oaklawn Park and that race to the short wire, and the idea that you're going to see riders encouraging their mounts to pick it up a little bit sooner than you would typically expect them to.
Well, you'll see before they get to the far turn, they're going to start riding, and most of the time you would go, oh, I think that's a bit too early.
Mm-hmm.
No, you have to build momentum. You have to come off of that turn in full flight. You have just a bit over 1/8 of a mile to the finish there. Not a lot of time on the straightaway, so you've got to build momentum. Listen, position is important in all racing, and especially all dirt racing. With the shorter wire, it becomes even more of a premium.
These aerials and scenics, terrific images here of the horses load into the starting gate here at Oaklawn Park on this eve of the Southwest Stakes. Post time for the 7th, and the final check of the tote board reading 2-1 on Katat, the favorite, number 4. Martin Garcia in the saddle, looking for a second win on the afternoon. Matt Dinnerman standing by. Post time, race 7, Oaklawn live on Fox Sports 2.
That something goes in. Nolabur coming up. WW Crazy. Hello Hot Rod. 2 back. Sunrise Drive. Into the outside post, Rowdy Rascal. Here's Rowdy Rascal coming up. Go again. We're ready to go. And Laroff. An awkward break from Hello Hot Rod, who drops to the back of the pack. Nolabur shown rain to show speed and has the lead early from Ben Diesel. Atomic Tone runs in the 3rd position, stalking right on the tail of the leader Nolabur as they hit the first turn run here. Nolabur, the leader by 1.5 lengths from Atomic Tone in 2nd. Rowdy Rascal parked outside of him, and then comes Ben Diesel to the inside 4th, now easing off the speed is 2 lengths behind. 1.5 lengths back to Katath. Right Tone has been passed by both WW Crazy, who's very keen between horses. Hello Hot Rod alongside of him. That pair moving level 4th together, swinging up the back stretch. We come back in the field to That Something, who's 2nd to last, and Sunrise Drive is at the back. They're down the back stretch. Nolabur is on a contested pace, about a neck in front. Atomic Tone on his throat latch. Rowdy Rascal is parked 3 wide with that party. 1.5 lengths to WW Crazy. More settled down with Hello Hot Rod and Ben Diesel in the gold jacket joining them. 2 back to Right Tone Katath. They're side by side going into the turn in a space of 5 lengths back to Sunrise Drive, and That's Something as they round the far turn. Remember, this race won at the 16th pole. They round the turn. Nolabur still on top. Atomic Tone is 2nd, still right behind as they come to the top of the lane. Nolabur opens up the lead here to 1.5 lengths. Atomic Tone 2nd. Ben Diesel getting into it now. A joint 2nd, slips inside of the gray as they come off the turn. Nolabur's still clear. Nolabur down the stretch. A 2-length lead from Atomic Tone, who's trying to run on here. Right Tone on the inside, head to steady. Midway on the far turn is re-rallying up into 3rd, but has a lot of ground to make up. Too much to catch Nolabur, who comes to the finish in front, and he takes him all the way under Travis Wales. Atomic Tone 2nd. Right Tone was 3rd, and 4th was Sunrise Drive, who gallops out well too.
Nolabur at 9-1 off the board and all 4 at Oaklawn. Prior to that one, an upset here in the 7th at Oaklawn Park.
Yeah, came off the turn with a clear lead and had to hold off a insistent and determined challenge, but he kept finding, and I'm sure he and his rider were both happy it was the first wire.
Being chased there late, but still, it didn't think maintaining that lead through the stretch.
Yeah, no, he stayed on resolutely. You could see he wanted to drift a little bit. Rider keeping him to his task, making sure that he, got the job done. And even after the wire, he wanted to drift out a bit, a little bit strong, but listen, he got it done. And speed is always dangerous. I like horses that have natural speed, that can get position. It just lends itself to them having a good trip.
5'8", 112, the tepid favorite here, Katath. Richie, ¿qué pasó? Any excuses? Anything catch your eye?
You know, I really didn't see anything that was a standout excuse. This is one of those races you'll go back and watch, and maybe you'll pick something up. One thing I will say, Lafitte, the riders here at Oaklawn Park are very, very mindful of each other, especially going into the first turn. They really take care of each other. They give each other enough space. And I was talking with the riders earlier today in the jocks room, and they were saying the stewards here hold them to task. They call them in and say, hey, guys, we don't want to see that. We want to see you taking care of each other. It lends itself to cleaner, safer racing.
Good to see, good to hear. Keeping them in line as Nulliber at 9-1 strikes in the 7th race, Oaklawn Park, 5'8", 112. When we come back, what a filly, what a 2024 campaign. Torpedo Anna, highly decorated after a big night in South Florida. 3-year-old filly champion, 2024 Horse of the Year.
And the Naira Benz Haskell.
In the Belmont Stakes at Saratoga.
Dornock setting up moderate pace, 3/4 of a length ahead.
As the field turns for home.
They're at it again. The two Belmont first and second place finishers.
Mind frame on the outside. It's coming after Dornock.
Dornock wins the Haskell.
It will be Dornock to win the Belmont Stake.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you.
Olympiad leads American Revolution. Olympiad gets the gold in the Jockey Club Gold Cup.
The Fasig-Tipton Kentucky Winter Mixed Sale. The last mixed sale before the start of the breeding season. Featuring racing broodmare prospects, yearlings, and mares in foal to their sport's top sires. Recent grads include multiple Grade 1 winner Adair Manor, graded stakes winners Fastest Flight, First Peace, Leave No Trace, Olivia Darling, and Running Bee. Kentucky Winter Mixed, February 3rd at Fasig-Tipton in Lexington, Kentucky. Where will you be?
Back with you on our Fox Sports 2 coverage with a big weekend ahead at Oaklawn and a Horse of the Year. It could be rolling through Hot Springs a couple of times on our coverage over the next few months. Joining us on set, Acacia Clement. Good to have you up here out of the cold. And Eclipse Awards, a lot of excitement with what happened, including what most of us expected, Torpedo Anna claiming that top prize.
Absolutely, and it was exciting to get a chance to see her do that. The last 3-year-old filly to take Horse of the Year honors was Rachel Alexandra, but you really cannot fault what Torpedo Anna did with her overall body of work. I know that the argument, well, she didn't beat males. She beat all but one in the Travers, which is an elite 3-year-old Grade 1 dirt race for males, including beating the 3-year-old champion Breeders' Cup Classic winner Sierra Leone that day. She's the most consistent horse by far, Sarah, that we've seen this year.
And I think, too, just while she was this phenomenon on the racetrack and ultra consistent, and I think ran one of her best races when finishing second to Fierceness in that Travers, so not even a victory. The access that we've had to her through her trainer, Ken McPeak, and just getting all sorts of information and updates and content, and to be able to cheer her on through this entire past year, that's something that creates the phenomenon of a Horse of the Year. When you have a horse that has impacted the sport at such a significant level. And while Rachel Alexandra breathes rarefied air, she has certainly had a horse of the year type of year.
3-year-old male. A lot of talk about potentially fierceness. Sierra Leone. It goes to Sierra Leone, your classic winner. And among the 3-year-old colts, he was the most consistent all year long.
He was, and he was a horse that maybe just needed a little bit of pace all along to get his better performances. He's one that showed up at the highest levels of competition over and over again, and finally got that elusive victory throughout this campaign of his 3-year-old season by winning that Breeders' Cup Classic.
And Acacia, terrific to see Flavien Prat. He made that move with the mind of being in this position, coming here to the East Coast to win an Eclipse Award. And to get it, look, he had to produce one of the great years in the history of jockeys to unseat a Rat Ortiz Jr.
Yeah, just unbelievable. The records in both stakes and graded stakes in the year. We saw that record set in Saratoga as well. Just everywhere that he's going in the deepest jockey colonies as well, and on the biggest stages. He wins the big ones, but he's such a well-rounded rider as well. He's a lot of fun for the fans to watch. It's been, I think, a real treat for us to have him here in New York and be able to get a chance to see him so often. So I think very, very well deserved. It's been remarkable what he's accomplished this year, and obviously that in large part takes getting paired up with the right horses, but he's got to be there to make sure that those horses get the right kind of trip as well.
Congrats to him. Congrats to Chad Brown. 5th Eclipse Award for Outstanding Trainer for Chad Brown, equaling the man he came up with, Bobby Frankel.
Just a significant record for him, and of course I know one that's going to mean a lot because that was such a mentor for him. But he's had success, whether it's turf, dirt, the Breeders' Cup Classic, with some of his 2-year-olds at all levels, and teaming up with Flavien Prat for a lot of those victories. But just so many different horses in different places that run their races, and that's what makes him Eclipse Award winning trainer year after year.
A lot of hardware been given out in the Asmussen family. Eric, his dad, his uncle, used to collecting quite a bit, and now he has an Eclipse Award as well. Maggie had a chance to catch up with him after being named Outstanding Apprentice Jockey.
Please be joined by newly minted Eclipse Award winner Eric Asmussen for Outstanding Apprentice. Eric, watching your speech last night was truly something that gave me chills because you could sense your appreciation for this sport. Bring us back to that moment.
No, just growing up in the game, this is all I've ever known, and it's what I love so much, and I'm so passionate about it. So to be accomplished in something that you love and you dream about your whole life, it was just a lot of emotions.
Your dad once said to me, Eric, he's all in. And that was before you started riding. Talk a little bit about that decision, a year ago plus to, tack up and ride races.
Yeah, whatever it is, the horses deserve all your effort. It's just the truth of it, and they deserve all my effort, so I'm going to give this as hard as I can go.
And we saw your Uncle Cash, a fellow Eclipse Award winner for Outstanding Apprentice, send you a little video message. And to your parents in the audience, your mom, Julie, standing up, giving you a standing ovation. Just a magical night, but also a little tough to get back here and ride races.
Yeah, not the easiest, but you'd do anything for it. I mean, it's just so fun, and to do it with the family yesterday, it was a dream come true.
Well, many congratulations from all of us.
Thank you so much, Miss Maggie. Thank you.
Oh, one of my favorite people, and Eric telling me you had to get up at 2:15 this morning to travel back here to Oaklawn. Guys.
Well worth it to have a moment like that, and both these two youngsters, Eric and Keith, the rapid rate that they're improving at. It's making it tough for Dad now to make some decisions who to put on his horses.
It seems like it. He's going to have to see which riders and their style suits them well. But, I mean, the success that both of them have had and the hot starts they've had has been significantly impressive.
And while Eric recently just started riding, as Maggie touched on there, those that have been around the backside know that Eric has been out there around the barns for a very long time and working for his dad and just really being a true horseman really before he even started his journey as a jockey. So very cool to see all of that hard work paying off with that award. And from personal experience, Florida to Hot Springs, not an easy task.
No, it is not. Yeah, cooler temps for sure. We'll see what he can do. Coming up, actually, the next race, we'll get a chance to see Eric Asmussen on Risk Profile in the very next race. So that Still to come. Let's wrap up the 7th, though. Nullarbor. Bit of a surprise here. Travis Wales. And a 5th career win for this 5-year-old.
Being aggressive early worked out for this horse, able to get some early position, as Richie was talking about, having that position going forward, especially in these races with the first finish line. It helped this horse end up getting the victory, and I think that just having the early pace that he did was really all it took to win this race.
He was on absolute cruise control, almost shutdown mode early in this race. So plenty left in the tank when asked for more. 21.60 for the victory, 5.8.112 in the 7th. As we move on to race 8, 6 furlong sprint. 4-year-olds and up who have not won a race since September the 24th. The condition, non-winners of a race since July 24th, allowed at 4 pounds. And right now, favoritism to the 4. Principe Carlo, who you go back a little bit, some very big races from this now 9-year-old.
Keith Asmussen trying to win over Eric Asmussen. I think that maybe it'll be fun to see what sort of brotherly rivalry they can put together and whether or not they can have their own sort of Ortiz brothers style over at Oaklawn.
All right, we'll get to a post break from this one coming up. To close things out with this $8,000 conditioned claiming race. 6 furlong sprint ahead. We'll get to the post parade. More from Lafitte, Mig, and Maggie in Hot Springs when we come back.
Great to have you with us on America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2. Oaklawn Park in Hot Springs, Arkansas on the eve of the Southwest Stakes. Southwest, a race productive along the Triple Crown Trail and beyond. The Springboard, 1992 strong edition. Second and third place finishers would win the Preakness and Kentucky Derby. Pine Bluff Lily T. 97, the Maryland-bred Smoke Glacken. Fast Southwest winner, eventual champion sprinter. 2004 needs no introduction. Smarty Jones, perfect at Oaklawn, almost perfect in the Triple Crown. 2 years later, Lawyer Ron, a Southwest Stakes winner, eventual champion older horse. About a decade later, as popular as he was talented. Whitmore, Southwest Stakes winner, and years later, eventual Breeders' Cup Sprint winner and champion sprinter. 2021, what a matchup, worth the wait, elusive quality. And Jackie's Warrior, both crowned champions by year's end. And last year, if you didn't know before the Southwest, you did after. Mystic Dan, Southwest winner and Kentucky Derby hero, the Southwest Springboard. The next chapter tomorrow afternoon, Richie. So yeah, horses that have run well in the Southwest, the success they've had in the Triple Crown, but also in other divisions once they maybe figured out that, okay, so they weren't distance horses, that kind of thing.
Well, everybody that has a good 3-year-old that has shown ability at 2, they're thinking Kentucky Derby. They're thinking Triple Crown. They've got to give them that opportunity to show whether they actually want to stay. When they don't, play back to a horse's strength. Whitmore's a perfect example. Extremely well managed. They gave him his opportunity to be that Kentucky Derby type horse, but what he was really good at was sprinting. They readjusted. Ron Marquette did an amazing job campaigning him, and his longevity created a fan base. He's a horse that people still talk about here. I was actually walking through the casino, and someone stopped me to talk about Whitmore. That's when you're leaving a lasting impression.
Because for now, the Derby, the dream is alive. That fever is real. And for the connections of those 3-year-olds running in tomorrow's Southwest Stakes, 20 points towards the Kentucky Derby. Here's what we've seen thus far. The Smarty Jones Cole Battle. We'll see him in the Rebel Stakes Southwest tomorrow. Grade 3, $1 million purse. The Rebel, February 22nd. All roads leading to the Arkansas Derby, Oaklawn signature race with a $1.5 million purse. For more on the Southwest, back to New York, guys, in a deep competitive edition of this race that, again, just last year produced 3 Kentucky Derby starters.
Yeah, how about that? Some serious, big name star power in this race. Not just Bob Baffert back on the Derby trail with gaming in here. The coach, Dwayne Lucas, Steve Asmussen with a couple of contenders. He'll have both his boys on those runners in here. And for Dwayne, American Promise, we saw it last year. He loves to give these younger riders opportunities. He did with Jamie Torres with Seize the Gray. And Tyler Bacon on board for that gate-to-wire maiden victory on a wet track last start. It's going to make his stakes debut coming up.
They put this horse on the lead. They had been trying to show some good early speed over the last 3 races, and it shows up with a big number winning this race. And sort of bred to be successful, the half-brother to Hoosier Philly.
Yeah, of course, he was very good for our friend and colleague Tom Amos, and was able to wire the field and hold off Publisher last time out. Publisher, a bit more of that grinding type as well, who is still a maiden, but will be in here for Steve Asmussen with Eric aboard. But as far as American Promise is concerned, I remember seeing this horse as a 2-year-old early on. I think I actually picked him in his second race because he is a big, solid horse, and maybe he's one that just has taken a little bit of time to get going and get his feet underneath of him. But he won. We certainly know that the coach, Wayne Lucas, is not afraid to take a shot, especially with a horse that he thinks is doing well. And he certainly pulled some big upsets over the years as well. Greg, just think to last year, Lemon Muffin, a filly, winning at a big price with Keith Asmussen aboard.
Yeah, gave Keith his first ever graded stakes win in his career. So yeah, Dwayne Lucas forever a part of that and the ascension of Keith's riding career. So many good storylines in this race tomorrow, but always we'll see who kind of, as we turn the page to this 3-year-old campaign for these horses, who's going to take that next step forward.
And you want to see one of these giant fields because we have so many horses that still have those Kentucky Derby dreams alive, and especially with this race being so productive last year, producing Mystic Dan to win that Kentucky Derby. I think a lot of connections have their eyes on this one as being the race on the trail to this year's Kentucky Derby that they want to win, maybe more so than other years.
Looking forward to it. $1 million purse, points on the line to get into that starting gate. Still, we're excited about this race. still a long way to go, isn't there?
There are a lot of changes that can take place. Obviously, you hope that the horses that are potential Derby starters stay healthy, make their way there, but there's also going to be some questions answered. You look at a horse like Patch Adams. We're trying to find out, can he handle the distance? Now, having personally had the opportunity to see him train at Payson, I know he has a very strong foundation in his training coming in here, but sometimes you just never really know until they go out and do it if they can handle the distance as the road gets tougher. And of course, they've all got to get into the starting gate, and then they have to get a trip in a field of 20.
We'll find out a lot more tomorrow of who's a true contender on the road to that first Saturday in May. Back to live action, race 8, 6 furlongs in this condition claiming race. All for sale for $8,000 in this spot. We'll start off with risk profile 10-1, Eric Asmussen for Dad.
Seems like one that has some credentials coming into this spot, and Eric Asmussen has been riding well. Of course, we just caught up with him as the apprentice winner for Eclipse Awards.
I didn't see the hardware in his hand. I guess he has it safely stored somewhere. Pittsburgh, 27-1 next door.
It did win sprinting 2 starts back, but out of town.
Tiebreaker, very interesting.
Coming off a little bit of a break, had a race at Delaware that, numbers fit.
Principe Carlo momentarily was the favorite, not anymore.
Off slow and had to steady back last time out. I think could run better today. We'll see what he is doing, claimed off of David Jacobson.
Man on the Moon, 20-1.
He would be a surprise. He's been well beaten in his last 2 starts and a big price in his last one as well.
Cody Rosenbarn with Family Tradition.
Trying to turn things around with a cut back in distance. He was kind of knocking on the door in some stakes out of town as well recently.
T. Burns, he wants to be forward.
Yeah, has that good early speed, just a matter of whether or not he can sustain it at this level.
Kim Poole, known for huge upsets at Oaklawn, smoking hot, sends this one out.
This one was 20-1 on the morning line, 5-1 on the board right now. See if he can turn things around from that last race.
This one with speed going a little bit longer lately, cost basis.
We'll have to handle the cutback in distance, but has run well over his last 2 starts, really.
And it does have some sprint speed as well. Here's Tin Badge. Off since November.
Has some early speed as well, coming down to this $8,000 level when coming to Oaklawn.
And in from the also eligible is the favorite right now. And the last time sprinting for All West, very good effort at Churchill.
And that was a good field as well that he was facing in there. Gilmore had some back class coming in, and just seems like bettors are gravitating to this one because he's been facing some tougher company.
8th from Oaklawn coming up right now. Maggie standing by with a very proud dad.
You said it, as I will ask Steve about last night. It nearly brought me to tears of watching Eric accept that award for Outstanding Apprentice.
Well, it was an unbelievable moment for the whole Asmussen family to have my mom and dad there, and it being something that they know they created, and the success that we've been blessed to have in horse racing and what it means to us all, and just a very special moment for the family to spend together.
It really was amazing to watch, too. And you'll actually have both sons on both of your Southwest entrants tomorrow, looking for your 4th win in the race. Talk to me about Tiz-tastic, Keith, aboard him. Obviously, the 2 wins coming on the turf, but he's run respectably well on the dirt in some tough races.
I agree. Like you said, both of his wins were on the turf, but solid performances, but performances not quite good enough for the Southwest, but he has matured beautifully. He's filled out. He's put in some very good work, and it's time for him to step up. I mean, obviously, for $1 million, you get an extremely good field. Nothing but respect for how fast gaming Patch Adams are, and we need to go faster, but we think we are capable and expect it tomorrow.
You've been in this game for many, many years. You've developed a lot of nice horses over the years. How integral is that step for you to see it when horses go from 2 to 3 and when you know that they're ready for deeper waters?
Well, I think we try to add to where we're at with them physically, continue to do a little more. And I do believe that both these horses, Publisher and Tiz-tastic, are taking it. We've stepped up their training. They stayed in the tub. I think that their weight's gone the wrong way. Their strengths went the right way. And expect them to move forward, knowing that they need to jump forward, but this is the opportunity and the time that you need to do it.
Excellent. Couldn't agree more. Best of luck. And as always, thank you for your time and enjoy that Eclipse Award.
Oh, we will. Thank you very much. Very special. Thank you.
Guys.
The influence the Asmussen family has had on the sport of thoroughbred racing, as you look at Steve's success over the years in 3-year-old Derby prep races, the influence the family has had on this, it's difficult to put into context.
They are one of the foremost racing families in North America. They've just been a part of it from every level. Obviously, the grandfather, Keith, being a rider, rode for Wayne Lucas, rode quarter horses, turned into breaking and training horses. Mom, Sissy, she trained horses. People don't know that Steve Asmussen was a jockey before he became a trainer. Obviously, Cash Asmussen revolutionized the way riders rode in Europe, particularly France, and Eclipse Award winner himself. It was so cool to see that video they made with him congratulating his nephew.
That was great last night. And as we mentioned, you just heard from Eric Asmussen speaking with Maggie moments ago, and just a terrific speech. What do you remember most about that night as we get closer to post time here? But when you accepted the award for Eclipse Award Champion Apprentice?
I was horrified. I was so scared going up there. I was 16 years old, didn't have a driver's license. My wife, Carmela, drove me there because she had a driver's license to the Fontainebleau Hotel in Miami. I got up there and I said, I'm just going to look at you and recite the speech I kept saying in the car. Well, I didn't realize those lights are in your eyes. You couldn't see 2 feet in front of you. I forgot everything. I croaked out a thank you here and there. And I still owe my agent at that time, Joe Shea, a big thank you for making me an Eclipse champion because I forgot that night.
And look what you do for a living now. Standing in front of the big bright lights.
I'd love another opportunity to do that speech now that I'm actually okay talking in front of people. Back then, the only thing I could do, Lafitte, and the thing I still do best, was cross my reins.
Congratulations to all the winners and finalists last night. The Eclipse Awards celebrating a tremendous year, 2024, in thoroughbred racing. Action here continues on this eve of the Southwest Stakes. Filing into the gate, post time for the 8th. Matt Ditterman standing by.
Post. Tin badge in the purple goes in. All west to the outside. Here's all west. We're ready to go. And we're off. Good beginning. Smoking hot. Out on the lead today, Principe Carlo has speed, takes a hold in the second spot as Smokin' Hot leads the way with Principe Carlo, who fires through on the inside to take a short lead from Smokin' Hot. Cost base is right off of them, placed well in the third position. Man on the Moon in the fourth position, T-Burns alongside of him, and then comes Tin Badge in the purple, 5 or 6 lengths off the pace. Then the gray, All West, is Park Deep going into the far turn run. Risk Profile losing position, Tiebreaker just past him. Family Tradition is second to last in Pittsburgh. Can see them all as they round the far turn. Principe Carlo on the lead. Cost Basis making an early bid, and Smokin' Hot attempts to move with him. 3 runners stretched across the track on the lead, and they put 2 lengths on Man on the Moon, who's trying to come on from the 4th position. Hugs the rail coming off the turn down the stretch. Principe Carlo in front. Smokin' Hot still right there battling. Outside Cost Basis is there. Principe Carlo fending off the challenges with a furlong to go. Extends stride, opens up 2 on Cost Basis. Coming flying is Family Tradition, but it's Principe Carlo with a lead of 4 now, and Principe Carlo's going to win under Keith Asmussen, who picks up a double today. Family Tradition was second, Cost Basis third, Smokin' Hot was 4th.
2 wins on the afternoon. Keith Asmussen, Principe Carlo, the 4-horse at 2-1, the 9-year-old in a 10th career victory.
And Keith was in 10th on the lead from that inside draw towards the inside. He let this horse fire up to lead, and he just kept finding. Norm McKnight campaigns his horses in Canada all year, comes to Oaklawn for the winter, claimed this horse last time off of David Jacobson and gets it done. And Keith Asmussen's second win of the day. Keith's not going to let his brother completely upstage him with the Eclipse Award, is he?
Last year won one of the 3-year-old Philly Oaks preps on a maiden for D. Wayne Lucas. Rode in the Derby and the Kentucky Oaks for D. Wayne Lucas, and what an experience that was, and a huge meet, finishing second in the standings behind Christian Torres.
Huge meet. Got his first graded stakes win for Wayne Lucas. And
the Honeybee, I think.
The Honeybee. Unfortunately, he was injured early in the Churchill Downs meet, but he's really found his form. It took him about a month to really get all together, riding extremely well.
Keith Asmussen, Principe Carlo for Norm McKnight, first after the claim, right to the winner's circle, and a 4-6, 11-8 unofficial order of finish. Right on cue. His bobblehead tomorrow giveaway. Last year's Southwest winner, Kentucky Derby hero, back to work for Mystic Dan in South Florida, seeking the riches, the $3 million Pegasus World Cup at Gulfstream.
History remembers moments of extraordinary strength, skill, and determination. True greatness is forged by those who fulfill their destiny.
What's at stake? $1 million purse. Oaklawn Stakes races are where horses step out of the shadows and into the spotlight, and where Triple Crown dreams begin. The Southwest Stakes is coming. It's the race where the legend of Mystic Dan began.
Mystic Dan is turning it on.
And it's back and bigger than ever. Big crowds, big names, and a big old payday.
Mystic Dan, a dominant win.
This is your Oaklawn.
They're coming down for the finish, and it is Silver State.
50-60, 250-60, now 60, 260 mark, 260,000.
Grade 1 winner Silver State, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Get into the game with Bond Racing Stable. When you partner with Bond Racing Stable, the Bond team does all the work and you enjoy the experience. As a partner, you can watch morning workouts, come to the paddock for saddling, and cheer your horse down the stretch. Bond Racing Stable offers more than 30 New York-bred weanlings, yearlings, and 2-year-olds in a partnership program that gets you to the winner's circle. Whether on your own or with friends and family, make Bond Racing Stable your racing partners. Go to jamesbondracing.com today.
Back at our Friday coverage on Fox Sports 2. Good to have you with us. Program brought to you in part by Hillendale at Alapa. With the 9th to come at Oaklawn. Principe Carlo, Nor McKnight first off the claim, and it's become the Asmussen show.
Fitting that Family Traditions ends up finishing second to complete your exacta in here. But Keith Asmussen getting the win on this horse. Principe Carlo, who he had in position the whole way. It seems like you want to have some forward position at Oaklawn over the course of the day, though not impossible to close, as we saw your second place finisher do. But this was a horse that was very logical coming in. He got a nice ride to victory.
Yeah, I do think that made a world of difference for him. Looking at his last race to today, being able to have some positional speed seems to be where he wants to do his running. And if we're not talking about Keith with his second win of the day, or Steve, or Eric, I wonder if
Cash, or...
I mean, more Ashmussens coming out of the woodwork here.
Gonna have to rename this racetrack pretty soon. Principe Carlo with a win, $6.40 for the victory, 8-1, 6-1 underneath to complete that trifecta for just over $44 for 50 cents. As we move on, take a look at the odds here for race 9 in this starter optional claiming race. Mile and a 16th will stretch out here, 4-year-olds and up.
Competitive group. What's Up Doc taking some money as was kind of expected, but there are other ways to go in here. I think Interlock Empire has some races to get back to.
He is coming back. Bobblehead day tomorrow. Mystic Dan returns in pretty ambitious spot. Grade 1 Pegasus World Cup Invitational, purse of $3 million, and we'll see what we get. What are you two expecting from him?
For Mystic Dan?
Yeah.
He's got to prove it to me. And look, I hope he runs well, because it's always a great story when the Derby winner comes back and can run well. Obviously, incredibly disappointing with what we saw in the Malibu last time out. Maybe it was too short for him. Maybe it was the layoff. But it's a tough thing, Sarah, because he was sidelined following the Belmont Stakes. And in that time, we've seen other horses of his crop, like Fierceness, like Sierra Leone, take big jumps forward. And we don't yet know if Mystic Dan has gone forward forward as well.
And that's the question, because as the Derby winner, he's going to be one of the horses that bettors gravitate to because he does have those races to get back to. And certainly the Derby wasn't his only big effort, but that's the one that is going to stand out. He's still one that has to get back to that 3-year-old form and take a step forward. This is not an easy group of horses to overcome, and it seems as though he's working very well in the morning. I want to see it out on the racetrack in the afternoon before I take him at maybe under 10-1.
Meanwhile, I think one of the most exciting horses there is in the game right now, I think, is Locked. All that time away, horse was the third behind his stablemate Fierceness in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. He was favored that day. He comes back with a big effort, long time away, and then backs it up with a win in the Grade 2 Cigar Mile.
This was a good field that he faced. He was able to prove that he had really taken a step forward from an already good 2-year-old foundation, already a Grade 1 winner, and then getting this Grade 2 in the Cigar Mile with a triple-digit Beyer speed figure. He draws towards the far outside, and it seems as though he's going to have to try to make up some ground, but the talent's always been there. It's just a question of whether or not you think he gets the right kind of setup.
The post is going to be a big challenge. If you've ever been to Gulfstream Park, where the starting gate is positioned, it's right in front of the winner's circle going 1 1/8. It's not a common distance that's run at that racetrack, but two of the biggest races, and the Florida Derby and the Pegasus, are run at 1 1/8, and it's very short into the first turn. It's imperative to get distance. There's actually only been 3 horses to win from this outside post, one of them being Locke's stablemate, and that was Forte winning the Florida Derby with kind of that impossible trip to beat eventual Kentucky Derby winner Mage. But it is going to be a big challenge for Locked, especially because it looks like Saudi Crown is going to be the controlling speed, who's well posted to the inside.
And obviously you have one of the great veteran, all-time great riders on board, Locked, and John Velasquez. He knows full well what he's got to do. Yeah. But yeah, tough position to be in to have to try and execute there from a far outside post. That first turn comes up awfully quick for Locked, but exciting to see him and what he can become in his 4-year-old campaign. Not just the Southwest. Martha Washington just loaded with stakes action on Saturday from Hot Springs. Happy as a choice. We're trying to make it 3 stakes wins in a row. Lining up with the King Cotton on Saturday. We'll have a preview coming up.
Every champion has a beginning. And for many, that journey starts in Oaklawn's Southwest Stakes. From the race's early days to its role in crowning legends like Smarty Jones in 2004.
Smarty Jones continues undefeated, wins the Southwest by 3/4.
And essential quality in 2021.
Essential quality, the champion wins the Southwest.
The Southwest has become a cornerstone of thoroughbred racing history.
And we're off.
Just last year, Mystic Dan stormed to victory in the Southwest Stakes.
Here comes Mystic Dan right up the rail, though, with a rail skimming ride. Mystic Dan 5-6 ahead, and he wins wrapped up. A dominant win in the Southwest.
Fans would later see the 2024 Southwest winner claim the roses in the Kentucky Derby.
Mystic Dan, who's begging for the wire, Forever Young and Sierra Leone, keep on coming. Sierra Leone, Forever Young, and Mystic Dan, a wild finish. Here's the wire, photo finish.
Solidifying the race's reputation as a launch pad for greatness. This year, the stakes are even higher. On January 25th, a $1 million purse is on the line as contenders race to prove themselves in the second stop of Oaklawn's road to the Kentucky Derby. With a rich legacy of launching legends, the Southwest continues to be the ultimate proving ground. Who will rise to the challenge and etch their name into history? Don't miss the opportunity to witness another champion in the 60th running of the Grade 3 Southwest Stakes. Saturday, January 25th at Oaklawn, where history is made.
Live look in the Oaklawn Paddock. It's what makes those Derby prep races so enticing, so exciting. You never know where those stories, where those horses might wind up. And for Mystic Dan last year, it was a win in the Southwest and eventually a win on the first Saturday in Man Churchill Downs in the Kentucky Derby. But it's not just the road to the Kentucky Derby tomorrow afternoon. The stakes schedule tomorrow absolutely loaded. Yeah, you have a key prep for the fillies and the Oaks. And yes, the road to the Derby continues, but sprinters, Richie, in the King Cotton compact field of 6 older horses, 6 furlong dash, and a rematch from the Ring the Bell with Happy as a Choice and Gulfport to go at it once again after being separated by a neck in this thriller on opening day.
Yeah, and what turned out to be a very moderate pace in the Ring the Bell. And it gave the advantage, I think, to Gulfport, and he was still run down. I mean, for them to go 22, nearly 23 seconds flat, 47 and change to a half, good sprinters, finish up in 111. How is he going to turn the tables? He couldn't get a much better trip, could he?
That's the question. What has to happen? What needs to be different this time for Gulfport to get the best of Happy of the Choice, who, by the way, has won two straight by very slim margins?
Yeah, well, a horse that has a, pardon the pun, a nose for the wire. He is 3 for 6 here at Oaklawn Park. Now, last time he had post 1, he did get to save all the ground. It's not a big field. He's drawn outside. And I just have a hard time seeing a trip that could compromise him. I thought he overcame a lot last time with that mild pace.
That's the King Cotton. And then you also have the 5th season Maggie Wolfendale and an opportunity to see the Wine Steward for the first time since the Belmont Stakes.
Yeah, a horse I'm quite familiar with, being a New York bred. And Lafitte, the last time that the Wine Steward won a race was against fellow New York breds when he was riding an undefeated streak into that funny side. But since then, in all those races, 6 furlongs, they've tried to stretch him out to get some graded stakes wins in hopes, but it hasn't happened. He has finished very well in runner-up efforts in the Breeders' Futurity, the Lexington, the Peter Pan, and then a disappointing effort in the Grade 1 Belmont Stakes, going 1.25 miles. Now, this 5th season is a mile, around 2 turns. I have always had question marks about this horse really being a true distance type of runner. So coming back at the mile, I think actually fits him very well. We'll see how he looks, how fit he appears prior to this 5th season, having not run since Belmont Stakes weekend, Lafitte. So I love coming to Oaklawn and seeing all my New York breds.
The New York bred, Maggie, so much going on tomorrow afternoon. Richie, what do you remember most about these weekends and maybe the night before a big day like tomorrow? Like a Christian Torres riding a 9 of 12 races tomorrow afternoon. Would you do anything different? What was it like for you during your career the night before a big Saturday?
No, I think you just try to stay consistent, right? You're always prepared. You try to take care of yourself. You're an athlete. Your body is your tool. You want to be sharp. You want to get good rest. Not always easy to do when you're a little bit excited or amped up about the prospects of what you're going to ride the next day. For Christian Torres, he's going to ride the full card. That helps. Keeps you busy. You can't just, you got to stay in the moment. You got to go race by race. You can't overthink the big one.
Tomorrow afternoon, all of it right here with the Southwest Stakes. And, of course, the fillies and the Martha Washington. We'll have it for you on America's Day at the Races. With horses in the paddock, 9th race is next, 11 minutes out. Riders up, post-parade, the 9th. The feature from Oaklawn, next.
Mandaloon wins.
Enhance your handicapping with AI Fast Facts, exclusively on Naira Bets. Open your Naira Bets app, click View Runner Details, and a stat-driven fact will appear for all U.S. thoroughbred racehorses. Download the Naira Bets app to start using Fast Facts today.
RaceLens is the most in-depth product in horse racing, with unique features found nowhere else. True odds, predictive analysis, and pace projection. RaceLens. It will change the way you follow horse racing and take your game to the next level.
These New York bred foals represent many sires. War Dancer, Salamini, Honest Mischief, Central Banker. But they all have one thing in common. Starting in 2026, they'll be running for the same purse money as Open Company 2-year-olds at Naira tracks. That's nearly 20% more than they run for now. Learn more about it at nybreds.com.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Back with you on our Friday coverage on Fox Sports 2, race 9. Post parade coming up at Oaklawn, mile and a 16th starter optional claiming field. And we'll get a look at this group here in just a moment. The 5 What's Up Doc, Chris Hartman barn. We'll have Rafael Bejarano, right now favored, coming off a runner-up finish last time out, was a dominant 10-length winner at Churchill Downs the race prior back in late November. 2-1 on the board currently. 9 taking plenty of money as well. Redemption Time just claimed Kent Sweezy barn. But we'll start here with a big long shot on the inside in just a moment. Charleston makes an equipment change.
Adding the blinkers for this one, big price over his last 2 races, and just seems a little bit outmatched on paper in a field like this. So
jump the gun.
Maybe he'll show some speed. I know, like, what else can I say about this 27-1 horse that I would be surprised by if he got the victory?
All right, we'll get a look at that one in just a moment. Had back-to-back wins. Yeah, Thistle down. There's Charleston. So, yeah, blinkers on. Equipment change today from that inside post with the apprentice Tyler Bacon. Next door, Keith Asmussen for Dad just claimed.
And Steve owns this one as well. So a full Asmussen family with our dream ride. First off the claim, stepping up in class off a synthetic try, but actually a horse that has a ton of back class.
Tom Amos barn with the 3 Sutherland.
Tom Amos's horses have been running well at this meet. This one needs to get a little bit faster.
18-1. This is Stellar Vino.
Great name. I like that. Starship Spirit by Vino Rosso.
What's up, Doc? The favorite, 2-1.
Deserving favorite based on the last 2 races. Ran very well to finish second as the favorite last time.
Francisco Arrieta on Interlock Empire.
Just seems to not be quite quick enough. Was well beaten by What's Up Doc last time out.
David Jacobson barn, Ricardo Santana Jr. with Gamekeeper.
An example of a extreme form reversal with that race that he ran last time, but had some races prior to that to get back to.
Here is funny Uncle Mike Maker barn.
As this horse had a couple of turf tries and then onto the dirt last time. We'll try to turn things around. Just kind of ran evenly last out.
Second choice on the board, Redemption Time, Kent Sweezy.
First off the claim for Kent Sweezy and coming in off a win.
And Brilliant Man, Aaron Shorter off the claim.
A distant second to Redemption Time last time out to going out for the new barn to see if he can turn the tables.
Let's take a look at the favorite. What's up, Doc? 2-1 on the board right now. Rafael Bejarano on board this one last time out in this race in a runner-up finish.
He ran well. He was favored that day, but I don't think that he had anything go terribly wrong, and he still ran his race, replicating the number and improving 2 points off of the race that he had run prior to that, which was a victory. He's just in good form right now and coming in for a trainer that generally does well here at Oaklawn, and we can rely on to have horses hold their form.
And his recent numbers just certainly make him a big standout on paper with what he's been doing lately. Had a couple of races to go back on that would kind of put him in that place, but it seems that off the layoff kind of confidence build claiming win was able to back that up with a good effort at a tougher level.
Third off the bench this afternoon for What's Up, Doc. Current favorite, Maggie. Is he ready to get his picture taken again?
You know, he might be, Greg, as he's one that in the past I've seen him, and he does get himself a little bit hot, a little bit worked up prior to his races. It's much the same here again, so that's well within his character and all things you actually want to see from a horse who typically displays that. We'll see how he does. You know, it's kind of funny. He's a horse that doesn't have that much early speed, but he definitely acts like one that should. As his main rival currently at 5-2 on the board is number 9. I'll get to the 7 in a second, guys. But Redemption Time, first off the claim for Kent Sweezy. He comes off of the back of an effort at Churchill where he was just so much the best over a muddy racetrack. But while he looks fantastic today for Kent Sweezy, first off the claim, Kent does not have good numbers. First off the claim, won their last start on the dirt. He is 0 for 29. So we'll see if he can go 1 for 30 here with Redemption Time. But number 7, Gamekeeper, another horse that is coming into this one off of a very impressive win, winning by 3 1/4 lengths. He sat a perfect trip, albeit for a non-2 for 30, but he took over so easily that it almost looked like an effort where there was more left in the tank. Now, he's a striking individual. This guy is pushing 17 hands. I wouldn't be surprised if he is 17 hands to be exact. But a horse that I'd seen going back to Saratoga where he would kind of get really revved up and expend a lot of energy prior to his start is focused that energy. It's so much more harnessed today as he's really nicely on the bridle. I don't know, Lafitte. He's speaking to me out there. I'll take a shot here with Gamekeeper.
Giving Maggie the right signals. Gamekeeper, big boy. Wayne Lucas says American Promise, 17 hands plus. Gamekeeper here at 4-1 here. Ricardo Santana, what should he do with Gamekeeper early on to put him in the best position to be effective?
I think he's got to be forward, Lafitte. I mean, just what Maggie was saying about the size of them. These are not horses that you can stop and start. You want to get in a position where their stride is unencumbered with traffic. You don't want to have to make too many aggressive moves. Let them get in a good rhythm. Use their stride, their length to their advantage. I agree with Maggie. I really was taken with him, watching him gallop off and the way he warmed up.
Gamekeeper, something you were discussing earlier a little bit, and something for our viewers to watch going into the first turn when there's often congestion and there's traffic and jockeys jockeying for position in good size field, 10 strong here, mile and a 16th, and you observe that everybody's kind of looking out for one another.
Yeah, and a lot of racetracks, a lot of jurisdictions, a lot of places I rode Lafitte, you were on your own. If you were in kind of a tough situation, figure it out. You got to work your way out of it. Here, it seems like all the riders are very mindful of each other. They're not riding like, overly gentlemanly, but they are being mindful of each other and taking care of each other. And into the turns is the toughest time when you're race riding and getting position and being able to hold your position. But speaking with the riders earlier in the jockeys room, they said the stewards have been very, very strict, and they'll call you in immediately about it. And I like that. It sets the tone. Strong stewardship leads to better horse racing.
It's a lot like early on in an NBA game, an NFL game, how tight the officials might be calling things, and the players, or in this case the riders, they have to make that adjustment.
Yeah, adjust, understand what's expected of you. And listen, you have enough talented riders here that they can do what's expected of them, but they have to know where the lines are. To me, it's more dangerous for riders when there's more gray area. If there's hard and fast lines, 99% of riders can ride within those boundaries. The ones that don't won't stick around long enough. But when there's more gray area, you're never quite sure where the line is then. Will someone stop? Will they continue to come over? And that's the stewards to set up those parameters and be consistent in enforcing those parameters. And watching the racing here over the last few days since I got here, they are very, very intent on keeping it clean into the turns.
You were looking at a very talented rider there on the 9, and Christian Torres, leading rider on Redemption Time. Maggie pointed out the statistics with Kent Sweezy, not overly confident, inspiring for Redemption Time. What's the key for him to go back-to-back coming off that easy win at Churchill Downs late November?
Well, again, for him, forward position, doesn't want to get caught too wide into that first turn. And again, just what we talked about, you can't just come crashing over from that outside position and shut other horses off. Interesting about that horse, out of a mare called A Jealous Woman, also the dam of By My Standards, a grade 1 winner.
Yes.
And Jealous Woman trained by Bill Spar, somebody I know you're quite familiar with. Your dad rode first call for him.
Lot of success with Spar back in the day in Southern California. In the gate, filing in, 9th of 10 on this eve of the Southwest Stakes. Matt Ditterman standing by.
Stellar Vino, post 4. Redemption Time has gone forward. 2 back. What's up, Doc? And to the outside post. Brilliant Man. Brilliant Man goes in. We're ready to go. And they're off. A horrible stumble at the break for Redemption Time. Christian Torres did a phenomenal job to stay on him, but Redemption Time is last after that. Stellar Vino on the lead today. Gamekeeper right behind on a hold is asked to track the pace from second as Stellar Vino leads the way from Gamekeeper, who's keen to go on the outside. These two get acquainted on the front end. Sutherland runs in the 3rd position on a nice hold. What's Up Doc parked outside of him. Then another pair, Charleston and Interlock Empire. They're side by side. They're 3 ahead of a trio. Funny Uncle in the pink jacket wedges himself between horses. Our Dream Ride is down on the inside now, easing into the 2 path as Charleston joins that group. Brilliant Man alongside, and a deep Redemption Time after the stumble at the break towards the back as well. They're down the back stretch. Gamekeeper, the rider trying to ration his speed, is kept well off the fence. Stellar Vino holds the inside spot, but it's Gamekeeper with a head lead on Stellar Vino. Gap of 2 to Sutherland in 3rd. Now losing that spot to What's Up Doc, who claims the 3rd position while aggressively ridden. Sutherland retreats to 5th now. On the outside, Brilliant Man into the 4th position. Redemption Time still alongside of him. Interlock Empire between horses has a little run, has not been asked for his best yet. Coming back to the lead, Gamekeeper, narrow lead. Now Stellar Vino, the reins get shaken at him to go, and he reclaims the lead from Gamekeeper, who's back in 2nd, still right there battling, coming off the turn. Gamekeeper coming back at Stellar Vino. Now Interlock Empire's coming. What's Up Doc, far outside. Redemption Time after the stumble has run a good race. What's Up Doc takes the lead with Interlock Empire moving with him. What's Up Doc has a head in front. Interlock Empire 2nd on the inside, but it's What's Up Doc in front. What's Up Doc to win it. Interlock Empire was 2nd, Gamekeeper 3rd over Redemption Time.
By the Kentucky Derby, Preakness winner, California Chrome, What's Up Doc, the favorite, delivers. Meantime, look at post 9, Christian Torres, Redemption Time. Wow, how does he stay on?
Wow, what an athletic feat by Christian Torres to stay in the middle of this horse, and by Redemption Time being able to get up off the mat. His head was buried into the dirt, and the fact that he even got his feet. And look at this, Lafitte. He makes a run to contention coming to the 8th pole. Absolutely no chance with that start. That was quite an effort from him, but unfortunately, the stumble cost him dearly.
Yeah, no quit in Christian Torres, no quit in Redemption Time. What's Up Doc, meantime? 2 of his last 3 able to hold off Interlock Empire. 5, 6, 7, 9. I would imagine, by the way, for a Christian Torres, when you're riding in 9 of 12 tomorrow in several stakes mounts, including Sandman and the Southwest Stakes, you don't want too much of that going on the day before the big day.
No, you don't want any of those kind of hiccups. And fortunately, the only thing probably worse for the wearer is his skivvies that'll get washed tonight.
He will be right back at it tomorrow, Christian Torres. Richie, we're about 24 hours away until the Southwest Stakes tomorrow here at Oaklawn Park. When the sun does set, when we say goodbye to our audience, what will the headline be after the Southwest?
Well, I'm going to write the byline for some turf rider out there. Patch Adams, just what the doctor ordered.
Not bad. Not bad. Incredibly fast, incredibly impressive. Patch Adams, the 2nd choice on the morning line for the Southwest Stakes. Gaming for Bob Baffert, 2-1 morning line favorite. Greg, such an exciting day of thoroughbred racing. Tomorrow we get started bright and early. Several stakes races in the road to the Kentucky Oaks and Kentucky Derby continuing right here at Oaklawn.
We're all applauding you here, Mig. We expect nothing less. That was well done. Horse you two are most looking forward to seeing tomorrow. Who is it?
Ooh, that's tough. I want to see if Patch Adams can hold up that big maiden breaking score. I think that it's remaining to be seen what kind of trip he gets, but if he can build on that performance, he could be something special.
I agree. I think he's incredibly talented, but I'm also interested to see what Gaming can do. I think a lot of people, myself included, liked him a bit in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, 2nd to his stablemate and eventual champion. Can he get back on track this weekend? It's an important stepping stone. Like you said, it's early still, but this is a key moment as we'll get a chance to see the men separate from the boys.
Going to be a lot of fun. We hope you join us. Key race on the road to that first Saturday in May and that first Friday in May in the Martha Washington for 3-year-old fillies to the Kentucky Oaks. Plenty of other stakes action as well earlier on the card. Happy as a choice to King Cotton. 5th season, loaded with some veterans, talented going a mile. That'll happen on the card as well. Be sure and join us. FS1 coverage starts at 12:30 Eastern time. And then we swap over to FS2 at 1:30 on our Saturday coverage. This trio all back tomorrow?
Yes.
We'll be here.
Back tomorrow. I'm getting another layer for tomorrow. I need to find
Good
some
call.
hand warmers
You're
or
gonna stick
something.
you outside again tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll be outside tomorrow.
Oh, boy. What's up, Doc? Got leaned into from the 6 as well. Didn't matter. Crosses the wire first.
I mean, how fastidious these stores are, they didn't take a look at this, but I think that it was more caused by the horse who ended up finishing 2nd. What's Up Doc, a deserving winner.
As your 8-5 favorite, Rafael Bejarano, Chris Hartman, favorite, gets the win in this 9th from Oaklawn. Hope you enjoyed our coverage. Again, we'll see you tomorrow, 12:30 start time on FS1 tomorrow. Check your local listings. Gaming, Bob Baffert, he'll be back in Kentucky, we hope, this year. And on that road To the first Saturday in May with gaming. How will he fare in his 3-year-old debut coming up? Patch Adams, uber talented. His stakes debut coming up for trainer Brad Cox. Sandman, Mark Cassidy, so good with his 2-year-olds at Saratoga this summer. How will they pan out? Now his 3-year-olds. We'll see you tomorrow.